And a warm welcome to everybody joining us here for the Atto Accelerator Demo Day for 2021. We are so excited to have you here, and we are here celebrating all of the founders who have gone through our 12-week program, and thank you so much for joining us. So first of all, we would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we meet. Both Kate Kendall, the Atto's founder, myself, and a lot of our founders are on the land of the Wurundjeri people, and we would like to acknowledge their elders, past, present, and emerging. We also know we have people joining us from all over Australia, all over New Zealand, as well as some places around the country as well. So we just have a little poll, as we would love to know, where exactly are you joining us from? Are you in Victoria as well, or are you around Australia, or are you in the US? And we would love to hear who you identify as well. Are you a startup founder yourself? Are you an investor, or are you an ecosystem supporter? Or are you friends and family supporting someone here today? So thank you so much for filling out that poll. It should be appearing on your screen, and I'll leave that up for a little while now. So we know we've got founders here, we've got our judges, we've got investors, we've got startup supporters, and we've got friends and family. So we really want you to settle in, take a deep breath, and know that you're going to be here for a really inspiring event with some really inspiring speakers. And we will be having a break at the halfway point as well, but we do encourage you to have water and snacks or toilet breaks whenever you need, because this event is being recorded and we will be sharing it on YouTube after the event as well. So if you feel comfortable after you've filled out the poll, we would love for you to say hi in the chat and share where you're from as well. And also just check your chat settings as well, so that you're speaking to everybody and not just the panelists and hosts as well. So everybody can everybody can see what you'd like to say as well. So I'm just going to give a little bit of an intro before I hand over to Atto's founder, Kate Kendall. So if you feel, apologies. I just want to talk a little bit about Atto before we kick in. So Atto is a startup school and an online community for the world's most promising female founders. And we're so excited today. We've got 26 female founders on the call from 23 different companies who have been working on their business idea for the last 12 weeks with us. So we help female founders build tech companies in a sustainable, scalable, and independent way. So they build a business on their terms in a way that suits their lifestyle as well. So Atto launched in 2019, and this is our third cohort now. And since 2019, we have supported over 70 founders from across 67 startups to build their businesses and have more impact. And later today, we'll also be sharing more about our programs for 2022 and what we've got planned there. So before we kick into the event, we'd also like to thank our amazing partners. LaunchVic has supported us since day one, and massive thanks to Microsoft for Startups for coming on as our Gold Accelerator partner this year as well. Another thanks we'd like to give is to the Atto educators. So every week over the past 12 weeks, our founders have been learning from startup experts and operators and founders and investors as well. And they've learned everything from idea validation to marketing and alternative funding models as well. So they've been testing their ideas, working really hard. And today we're really excited to celebrate their progress with them and hear what they've been working on. And finally, we'd like to do a massive thank you to the 26 female founders who have been in our program. It's been so inspiring to see what you've been able to achieve over this time, especially when we first started. The majority of us were in lockdown as well. So we know it's been a very challenging time. Women often have a lot of conflicting responsibilities, and it's been wonderful to see your dedication to your businesses and see you take action on your idea. So now I'm going to hand over to Atto's founder, Kate Kendall, who will be speaking to the inspiring Kristy Chong from ModiBodi. And based on the popularity of the ModiBodi products, it's pretty likely that there's someone here on the call, or not just one person, but multiple people who will be wearing the ModiBodi products today. So I'm super excited to hear from Kristy Chong, and just a little bit about Kate before she comes on board. So Kate is a serial entrepreneur. She's started multiple businesses, and she is a dedicated startup coach. And she's one of the biggest supporters of women in entrepreneurship around Australia right now. And for the past few years, Kate has dedicated herself to support the Atto founders and through the programs, and supported over 70 founders so far. So please give a warm welcome to Kate Kendall. And if you do need anything or have any questions, please drop it in the chat, because we would love to hear from you. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Lana. Okay, I'll just get it set up so we can see Kristy, who is here as well. So we'll just stop sharing the slides and pin Kristy. So thank you. And where are you? There you are, lovely. Okay, I'm going to pin you now. So thank you so much, Kristy. I'm just going to do your bio and then we'll jump into some questions. And then we're also going to have some questions from the audience. So this is a Zoom webinar, so you can put a Q&A in the question function. So as Sarah just said, she lives in ModiBodi because she can sneeze freely. So it's really inspiring through your journey. So everyone probably already knows Kristy just because of her background as one of Australia's leading female founders. And she launched the company in 2013, and it started with a small range of leak-proof underpants, but it's since grown into a whole new category of sustainable health apparel. And now she not only offers products for women, but also teenagers, men, and recently babies, which is super exciting. And she's committed to championing a more sustainable world, helping end period poverty and normalizing conversations about periods, leaks, and real bodies. And she's been involved in petitioning governments to remove the tax on period products and has been committed to donating over 100,000 pairs of leak-proof underwear to people in need in 2021. I personally made the switch in 2016 to sustainable period wear, and really I think it's incredible because not only is the product, superior in all ways, it's also sustainable. And I liken it to the Tesla analogy of not only creating a product that's sustainable, but it also has to be better than what's out there. And that's what I love about it. So we're really grateful for you to join us today. And you're everything that we preach at Atto because you're achieving scale, sustainability, bootstrapping past, and also has been creating impact through small steps, which is exactly what Atto is. It's micro, nano little steps. And then you've also dispelled the myth of overnight startup success, which we see a lot. So tell us about, you had the idea in 2011, and what have been some highlights of your journey to date since then over the past decade?
Well, thanks, Kate, for the lovely introduction. And yeah, hello to everyone, and good on you for getting involved in an accelerator program. So I've been there and done that, and I know the benefits you get out of it. So well done. Well, firstly, I just want to be honest with everyone. So I am, I do run the business still. I am still CEO, and I've got a large family. So I'm probably a little bit under-prepped. So apologies. I hope I can do this justice today. But that's how you roll as an entrepreneur and a busy mum. And I've actually never been asked, to be honest, to tell my whole journey, which the team at Atto wanted me to do today. So usually I do panels and podcasts and interviews, and it's little snippets. So yeah, anyway, I thought I will just launch into it. But I suppose, as Kate said, the idea really for ModiBodi, it came about. So I launched the business in 2013, but the idea came about in 2011 as a mum of two, and my periods had not long returned, and I had started to experience some light incontinence. And, looking around me, I sort of came to that realization that disposable hygiene was, one, inconvenient, didn't always work, and was very damaging to the environment. So yeah, I thought maybe I could develop something better. And I was surrounded in Seattle by all this technology, and that's where the idea sort of came about. And so, yeah, I went away and I spent another couple of years then developing the technology. But I think what many people don't know, and I'd like to share it with you, is what ModiBodi actually stands for. Is it actually means modified apparel to better protect your body. So while we started with these leak-proof undies for periods and incontinence, my vision has always been bigger than that. I've always wanted to create apparel that protects your body in a more sustainable way. And that's where the journey is, some 10 years later, 9 to 10 years later, I've been able to get there. So you've always got to have that sense of purpose at the back of your mind, while you may stay very single-minded and focused on one product idea at the start. Our purpose as well at ModiBodi, we have a purpose, and I think I didn't have one at the very beginning, and our purpose is now to make everybody more comfortable by developing innovative apparel in the most planet-friendly way. So, that purpose is really important to allow us to think bigger than just, as I said, that single product. But for all of you out there, you know what it's like. You've had an idea, but then you realise sort of very early on that you need to create this business. And for me, 10 years ago, what that meant is going down to my local library, borrowing a book from the library about creating a fashion business and taking a few notes down. And then the second step was going to my husband and going, hey, I've got this idea for these really high-tech leak-proof undies. And what do you think? So, you know, pitching it to him. And he said to me, yeah, I think the idea is really good, which I was surprised by, and, you know, go away and work on it. And so I did, and we decided to put $30,000 from our mortgage. We bootstrapped to fund the R&D. And in 2013, we then launched the business. So that took 2 years. I had no fashion background. I had no textile background, no science background. So a lot of learning in that process. But I think, you know, partly for me, I was a full-time mum, and I was sort of glad to get away from the parenting duties when I could, as many of us mums do end up developing businesses out of being stay-at-home mums. And so, yeah, that was the sort of those 2 years. And I, you know, sourced, tested, came up with a product, and then spent the next 6 months really developing the technology and bringing it to market. I think, you know, that first year, I just want to say in business, which was 2013, really 11 to 13, it was really about discovery. I had this, you know, this product now. I had made 500 pairs, and I really had to work out, you know, whether this product had market fit. So for me, as Kate said, it wasn't an overnight success. The first year, I think I made $50,000 in sales. It's pretty small. I also had my third child, which was quite challenging, but many of us do out there. We seem to just roll like that, us women. And so, yeah, I made about 50 grand. But what I did learn is what was wrong with the product, what I had to improve, and what people liked about the product. So that was a really important year for me. So I went into 2015 a little bit more, I suppose, reassured that I had a product that was possibly going to work. So yeah, after that, my second year of business, I really learned, I suppose this year was learning about the value of money and the value of return. And I believe learning very early on how important that is. It's still integral to the success of ModiBodi today. So every dollar we spent was accounted for. I cared about where it was going to, and I fought hard to ensure it delivered a return. I think one story I wanted to share with you is I had a developer work on the website and the back end. He was a total con artist. He'd outsourced it all. It was a total mess. And, you know, I spent $1,000, and instead of just, you know, rolling up my sleeves and go, well, whatever, cut your losses, Kristy, I didn't. I actually took him to the local tribunal, and I fought hard because I thought, bugger him, that man is going to continually, you know, rip people off. I'm going to put him in this place. And I did. I only got $500 back, but at the time that meant a lot to me. And so I think my feedback to all of you is, you know, we must demand value as women, and we must demand honesty in our business interactions and hold people accountable to deliver for us. So, you know, keep on flying that flag if you can. So that was sort of my second year. You know, I think another story I did, you also, you know, you try and cut costs as much as possible. And another story I wanted to share is, you know, I was dyeing, decided that I would home dye our elastic. So I had 300 meters. I bought this tin pot, 80 kilogram tin pot off Amazon, set it up on the stove, bought the dye, chucked in the elastic, boiling it away, tipping out the water later. And I realized, oh, that 300 meters of elastic all got twisted. I didn't realize that you have to put it onto a coat hanger nicely and dye it. So that weekend, being the sort of person that I am, my kids and I spent the whole weekend painstakingly unknotting the elastic because I was determined to use it. So these are some of the mistakes, and, you know, and there's numerous ones that I've made along the way, all in the effort of saving money and, you know, trying to do things myself. But 2 years in, I suppose what I realized was that women are really picky when it comes to underwear, and 5 styles is not enough. So I quickly increased absorbencies, increased styles to accommodate for all those women who want high waist, low, you know, full briefs, you know, thongs, whatever. The women want a lot. I should have gone to men's underwear, but we have now, but at the start I hadn't. But what I realized running a business, that it can be very isolating, and that there's lots of self-doubt that crept in the first couple of years. And so what I did was I realized I had to expand my network. So I participated in a program called Heads Over Heels. That program was fantastic. What it did is, it's a networking program. It's not an accelerator program. They basically get you in, you pitch to a group of people, and they introduce you to a lot of like-minded people to help grow your business. That was very, very important for me at that stage. You know, one thing that as an entrepreneur, you need to, it's hard because you're so busy running your business, but you have to keep talking to people. You have to keep not all of those conversations help you, but if they don't, they'll introduce you to someone else. So that's a really, I suppose, important lesson. I also learnt within that first year, and also through doing Heads Over Heels, that, you know what, I'm either going to, this is not a small business. It's really hard to keep this as a small business, and with the cash flow, with the stock levels that I need to commit to. So I've either got to go a little bit bigger or I've got to close it down. And so that was a major decision I had to make. And I decided at that time that I'm going to go bigger. And so I'm going to get some angel investment. And I put the feelers out to that network, friends and family. And at the time, I was lucky enough to secure $200,000 for some equity into the business. And it helped me just, you know, invest in a few areas, bring on a part-time marketing person, which was really important for that next year to sort of scale and start the growth. So I, you know, for me, that little bit of equity was important, but I'd also had the runs on the board to prove up the market fit and also understand some of how the business was operating. So in 2016, with that money, I moved the production offshore. As I said, I brought in that part-time person, and we grew the sales to about $500,000, which was wonderful. And I also went on Shark Tank, interestingly. I did things like that. You got to take risks. Didn't get up in Shark Tank, but that was fine. It was more of a PR opportunity. And then unfortunately they said, well, it's not even sexy enough, this product and, you know, this story to go on mainstream TV. And I was like, whatever. But one thing I took out of that, Naomi Simpson said to me, I believe in you. She said, I'm not going to fund you, but I think you can do it on your own. So I ran with that. You got to take every little snippet. You got to, you know, deal with the failures and take all those little opportunities and back yourself. And so I did. And as I said, we built the business, and I decided at that time I needed an accelerator program. I went into Springboard, fantastic. You know, it was scary, it was uncomfortable, but what it taught me about was how to pitch my business. And I also made and brought on board an advisor, and he is still been an advisor to this day. And what I would want to share with you is that advisors are really important. He took a small amount of equity for his time. He helped me develop a financial model. He's an optimist. He backed me. And then I also brought on board another advisor who's very pragmatic. She's a little bit like, you know, doomsday about everything. So balancing those two, having them alongside me and leaning on them at certain times in my journey have been very, very important. So, you know, find your advisor. If it does mean giving up a little bit of equity, make sure you spend a few months with them before you do that. Don't go to any shark out there. But it is, when you find the right one, it's worth it. So yeah, that was sort of 2016, and the next 3 years, 2017 to 2020, these years are our hypergrowth years. It was crazy. We had a team of 5. We grew to a few $1 million in 2017, and then by 2020 we were almost $50 million. So, you know, that growth from 5 to 8 people, and by the end of 2020 we were at 25 people. It's hectic. It's just, you know, everything. It's exhausting. It's challenging. It's single-minded. I'm surprised I'm still married. My husband's very supportive. You know, we launched so many things, our swimwear range. We built out the range of absorbencies. We launched into the UK. We launched our range for teens, so Amazon. And then in 2018, we finally moved into our own office. So that was, you know, that was really wonderful out of my home. You know, the landscape changed as well over that time. So partly our success at ModiBodi, you know, where at the very beginning, it was just very, very difficult to get traction. What happened was the tampon tax, I was involved in that. The Me Too movement happened. All of those things allowed our business to have a voice. And we were right there at the right time with the right product and the right brand story. So, you know, I think I always say partly that success has been to a great product. Yes, it does perform, but the landscape allowed us to succeed as well. So that's always important. So sometimes if you feel the landscape is not listening, it may not just be the right time. So hang in there, keep pushing through if you know you have market fit. And then I suppose over that period, I wanted to share that I also started to explore additional funding. So I was continually meeting with angel investors, high net worth individuals, but, you know, we were cash flow positive, profitable at this stage, and the timing didn't just feel right. For me to take on that investor, I wanted them to be able to really grow our business strategically and operationally overseas. And I also wanted to de-invest some of my equity to safeguard my business and my family, to know that I was going to take a high risk to take it to that next level. And that's what we did. So in 2019, I had my 4th baby, crazy as always, you know, went on maternity leave for 8 weeks, and then came back and went into a full pitch process. And so I met with 20 investors. Deloitte was our advisory team, all female advisors, fantastic advisors, because they could give the warm lead for our product. And then I took on board 2019, in 2019 by September, Quadrant Private Equity, which many of you might know, as our partner. And we've grown with them over the last couple of years. So, you know, that was a tough year. There were some foundational issues. We had stock outs. I also had to deal with some personal tragedies, and I've had many along the way. I mean, you know, one of them, I lost my best friend who designed the ModiBodi logo, you know, in 2013. My husband's brother became fully, you know, disabled along this path, and I've had a best friend lose a 6-year-old. So I'm only sharing those with you because you have business problems, but most likely you will also have some personal issues along the way, you know, and that is something that you have to pull on a lot of strength of character. I believe you all can do it. Just lean on people around you, speak about it. And that's why, you know, at ModiBodi, we do talk openly about, you know, menopause, menstruation, miscarriage, all these things that are beyond building a business with among our staff as well. So yeah, that was it, getting up to 2020 and COVID, so horrible for so many people. And I absolutely understanding of that, and very empathetic and compassionate to the people who have suffered through that. Being an online business, I suppose we have benefited from that. For me, you know, you sort of feel that's a wonderful thing, because sustainability came to the forefront, where I was like, oh my God, it's over and out for ModiBodi. What we saw through that is that people started to understand the world around them being more about, you know, just money, and, you know, what else can they do for themselves and their own health, but also for the planet. And so our business grew phenomenally during COVID. And so, you know, I'm very grateful for that as well, but cognizant of how it has impacted and caused many deaths. So the future at ModiBodi, you know, it does look bright. You know, we've launched our maternity and baby range now. We're attracting amazing talent for the first time ever. You know, I wanted to share with you that, you know, the cultural part, the internal cultural part, I think you have all best intentions as a CEO and founder to build a great culture, but it's tough, and you lose a lot of people along the way, and it's not always a happy ending. I lost some great staff members, unfortunately. But now what I'm committed to and what I see is that, you know, I've got this great team and I'm able to focus more on the culture. So that's taken years to get there. So don't be too hard on yourself, because that's most likely to happen. I think you hear that in many stories, not just mine, that you will use good people just because of that high growth. It's not for everyone. It is challenging. So yeah, I can breathe a little bit more now. I can take time to foster the culture. But, you know, still the job of an entrepreneur is hard. I'm still in it, fighting hard for everything. You know, I love it, I hate it. But what drives me and what I want to remind everyone here is, you know, what you need is true conviction. You need a single-minded focus. You need a solutions mindset always. And you need to believe in you and your purpose. And that's what will, you know, drive great success in the end. So there, that's a little bit about my story. I hope that's enough, but yeah.
That was absolutely incredible. I just, like, every single bit, you know, it was just full of so much value. And the real story, like, I've tasted a little bit of growing a company to a certain level, and it's exactly what you said. You know, you love it, you hate it. It's a whole journey in itself. So how's like measures of success change for you now, like coming out of when you have an amazing business that has scaled, that is a leading business in a category that you've kind of helped create? How do you kind of judge the measures of your own success?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. I think you just well, for me, I always move the bar. But, you know, I think at the start, it's like about every sale. But for me now, it's about what can we do to have true impact? You know, I hearing all the customer stories, yours, Kate, you know, hearing that people are using that product, that is a measure of success for me too, a personal measure of success. But now it's like, what more can we do to create products or create initiatives that have more impact on people and our planet? So yeah, I think that'll just keep me, you know, moving that bar higher. But at the start, you know, you have to build a financially profitable business. That's super important. But we're there. I believe we'll keep going. I think, you know, the brand loyalty and the equity is strong, but yeah, that's the measure now.
Great. And we've got a lot of early stage founders here that are, you know, might be working on consumer products business. How, you know, you mentioned that you did $30,000 to kind of was that to get the initial 500 kind of product run line? Like, what advice do you have for these founders when they've, you know, don't have capital, but they need to get the traction and they want to do a consumer products business, and all of those things are kind of, you know, it's the chicken and egg kind of thing.
Yeah, well, I think it ended up being about $50,000 that we took off the mortgage. So I think I was hiding a little bit from my husband about that and probably ignoring it myself. So yeah, look, what advice do I have? Like, you have to do everything on your own. Like that's the reality of it. But you know, get your product to a stage where it's viable. So don't launch until the product is somewhat viable. I think that's important. Then launch and go hard on the marketing. Drive the marketing, get to stock outs, right? That has to be your focus. You've got to make sure you've got this market fit. So if you're just spending time too much on product development or, you know, on the operational side, you'll never work out early what's right or wrong with your product. So but honestly, it's doing most of it yourself. I mean, I did the production. I imported all my fabrics and fibers and I made it locally. It was more expensive, but I could commit to smaller runs. So that 500 was small. I learned how to do emails. I did it all. You know, I had an Excel spreadsheet for planning my stock. I cut out my own cardboard patterns. So the more you can do yourself, the better, because that costs money otherwise.
And if you know what you know now, and you know the journey's been such a journey, what would you tell your first year or second year founder self? What wisdom? Because a lot of the founders are obviously in their first year of business here.
Yeah, gosh, that question is always very hard, because hindsight for me is it's always a tricky thing, because I always feel you've lived that experience. It's like when people go, oh, go back to your teen years. I'm like, but I've lived through that experience. I'm just being really honest. I do find it hard to remove who I am today and to go back. So I suppose the only, you know, piece of advice I have is, if you have that true conviction in your product and you have that true self-belief, the rest will come. So you have to believe in it. You really do. You may have up days and it's bloody too hard and you'll say it's just too hard. But do you really believe this product belongs, or this service belongs in the world? Does it have a place? You know, did you do it for a personal reason? Was there something that you were so, I suppose, connected to? Because I suppose for me, that's the only thing that could drive me forward and get me through those hard, challenging times. That's all the piece of advice. Sorry, I'm not great at advice.
No, that is literally what we preach at Atto as well, because as you said, focus, but also being so committed and so kind of almost militant about your idea that you want to see it succeed. And I think a lot of the time when we see founders that aren't sure, or they, you know, confidence is one thing, but that kind of maybe their guts coming up against it saying, not quite sure if this is business for me. And that's okay, right? You know, there's a lot of businesses out there that they can work on where they get that single focus view of the world kind of about it.
And I think it's not like you have to know your purpose, like at the start. Don't go, oh, I need to know all my values and what my purpose is. If you've got a service or a product, just back it, take it on the journey, just explore. The rest comes with time. Like I really think people need to understand that the love and the passion that comes with time, but you just need to stay single-minded and focused on making it a market fit and finding where this opportunity belongs.
Amazing. So we're just at the time now, but please everyone join me in thanking. This was one of the best talks we've heard in ages. So we really appreciate you coming on and your time today. Lana shared some links in the chat that you can find out more. If there's anything else, I guess they can follow you on Twitter or connect on LinkedIn, or if anyone's got a question, they're welcome to just yeah, amazing. Thank you so much again. So everyone, it's like a virtual round of applause, and I'm going to pass now to Sian to take it with our pictures. So thanks again.
Good luck.
Awesome. Hello, everyone. My name is Sian. I am the Community Director here at Atto. Very exciting day. Thanks, Kate. Thanks, Kirsty. So thank you all for being here. We're going to kick into the first round of pitches, and these will be in 4 rounds. So listen up, tune in, and get excited for our awesome founders. Before we do that, we obviously need to introduce our awesome judges. We have April Allen, General Partner at Tractor Ventures, and returning for the third time. Thanks, April. Rachel Newman, founding partner at Flying Fox Ventures, and is also tuning in from San Francisco. So happy day before Thanksgiving. I think we all wish we were joining you eating turkey tomorrow, or whatever you're going to have, maybe tofurkey. And last but not least, Emily Rich, Director of Microsoft for Startups, APAC and partner, M8 Venture, and also a founder herself after co-founding Gemsoft. Thanks for all your support for Atto as well. All right, so we're going to have 6 pitches. I'm going to name each one. They've all got 2 minutes, followed by 15 minutes of comments and feedback from the judges. And first up, drum roll. Let me do a virtual drum roll. Is Tabitha, founder of AddendoVault, a life admin and legacy platform. Good luck.
Hi, everyone. To lead the 2021 cohort out on a bright and cheery note, let's talk death. Hi, my name's Tabitha, founder of AddendoVault. Have you had the funeral talk with your family? Research from Australian Death Care Charity says that 75% of us actually haven't. And I was in that statistic until a few years ago when my mum had a conversation with me about the song she once played at her funeral. I wasn't prepared. The conversation made me realise how little I knew about what she wants for her final send-off. Now's probably a great time to ask yourself too, how much does your family know about what you want for your send-off? Just the basics? Nothing at all? I raced to find a solution that wasn't as formal as a will, but was more secure than a piece of paper, to which I found that there's been a surprising lack of online tools and innovation in the death care space. Further research proved that there is little digitalisation in this growing yet untapped industry, so there actually wasn't a solution in the Australian market that met my or my mum's needs. Today, we have a fully functional and encrypted online platform where Australians can safely add and securely store important details, end-of-life wishes, and their life story, something I wish my father had done. AddendoVault is a virtual online legacy keeper where you can add everything from documents, recipes and photos to pet directives and notes for your family members. As a vault holder, you can nominate several family or friends or trusted professionals to have access to this information when you choose. We've all heard the stories of the stress, confusion and guilt when a loved one didn't make their wishes clear or store important documents correctly. Don't let that happen to your family. Head to AddendoVault today to unlock your vault and start storing your information securely. Thanks.
Awesome, well done. Kicked us off well. Next up, we have Hannah, founder of Close Friends, tackling loneliness in the remote world.
Awesome. Can I just start with a show of hands of who's felt a bit lonely or isolated the past few months with COVID? If your hand is up, you're not alone. I'm Hannah from Close Friends, a new social platform which is designed to put real connection back at everyone's fingertips. During this last lockdown, it hit me really hard. Having just moved both to a new city and to a new job, I felt further away from my friends than ever before. Like, I was literally like, poor old Pablo here. I was so desperate for a chat. But so worried about being that needy Melbourne person, always calling at a bad time, that I actually built an app to help. And that app has become Close Friends. I continue building it because 1 in 4 Australians are lonely, and loneliness can be just as bad for you as smoking or obesity. Also these days, social media is stopping, or it's not as focused on catering to our real human connection needs and much more focused on advertising. So how does Close Friends work and how is it different? Well, it's designed to get you having a real conversation with a friend with as minimum friction possible. You simply sign up with your friends as contacts. And then when you have a spare moment in the day and you want to chat, you can just send a call request with the push of a button. We then do a shout out to a group of your friends, and then they can opt in to call you back, which means there's no obligation on their part if they're not in the mood. The app cycles through your contact list, so it makes it less noisy than a group chat and more able to handle diverse groups of your friends, from your crush to grandma. The beta app is now live and free to use, and over time we'll build out additional features under a freemium model. I've enjoyed using it during lockdown and beyond, and early customer research has been really promising, with 90% of people saying that they do want to catch up more frequently with their friends, but that social anxiety, scheduling issues, and generally just being busy stops them and gets in the way. So if you're ready to stop doom scrolling on social media and start actually connecting with your friends, I encourage you to sign up and give it a go. It's free, and your feedback is the most valuable thing I can ask for at this very early stage. And I guarantee you that you'll feel better after a good chat with a close friend.
Awesome, thank you, Hannah. Next up, we have Megna, founder of ConvertDial, predictive insights for e-commerce businesses.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. My name is Megna, and I'm a data scientist and the founder of ConvertDial. Now, a few years ago, I had a Shopify store of my own, and I really struggled to grow the business because I really had no idea who my best and worst customers are and where to focus my attention. And talking to other stores, I realized that this is actually a very common problem. So being a data scientist, I put my skills to work and I developed a method to try and predict customer churn and retention. And I got some really good results when I applied it to my own store. Yet today, a number of e-commerce stores say that they are really struggling to reach customers and sell their products. And why is that? Well, in the end, it all comes down to understanding of their customers. And in a world of cookieless tracking, online stores need to start leveraging their own data to segment and target their market effectively. Did you know that there's over 2 million Shopify stores globally, and over 1 billion purchases have been made on Shopify alone? So there's a $500 million opportunity that we think we can tap into with ConvertDial. So what is ConvertDial? Do you want to know which customers you can convert faster and cheaper? We've built a cloud-based software that uses artificial intelligence to study your customers' behavior for really hyper-personalized targeting and marketing. It's easy to use, no code, and completely cloud-based, very much plug and play. It's an affordable subscription-based business model and costs out from only $49 a month. The ConvertDial is unique because it's a world-first technology that's looking forward to the future rather than just reporting on the past. We've researched across hundreds of e-commerce stores, tested with real 12 e-commerce stores in Australia, and now the ConvertDial MVP product is live in market, and we have some paying customers. Anybody can sign up and install the app on their Shopify store and get started for free. We're in a closed beta phase and we're preparing for launch in 2022. So we're looking for Shopify stores to come on board as our early pioneers. If you know anybody that has a Shopify store or works with them, we would love to talk to them. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you, Megna. Next up, we have Leanne and Jussara, co-founders of Cool Points Club, Negative Carbon Rewards Program meets the Metaverse.
Kia ora, I'm Jussara and I'm joined by my longtime friend and co-founder Leanne. We all know the narrative surrounding climate change. The scaremongering is real and the problem seems so daunting that most people just check out. For 2 years, Lee and I have been discussing ways to overcome our climate anxiety, ways we can leave the world in a better shape without going vegan. This is how Cool Points Club was born, but I'll come back to that shortly. What if I was to tell you that the solution is straightforward and that we only have to do 2 things? 1, stop pumping new carbon into the air, and 2, get rid of excess carbon already there. Number 1 requires change at the highest level. However, number 2 is where we can make shit happen. Luckily, clever humans have developed seriously cool technology that can suck carbon out of the air permanently. That's more than a tree can do. However, these emerging technologies need more money to scale. Cool Points Club creates scalable initiatives that generates cash to help fund and grow these carbon removal technologies. By combining climate art and blockchain technology, we are completely reimagining climate action. Last month, we launched Coolgram, a subscription model that makes any Instagram account carbon negative. This has already sucked more than 18,000 kilograms of carbon from the atmosphere and opened doors to global brand partnerships. This December, we'll launch our second initiative, this time in the metaverse with Islands of Cool. Islands of Cool is the new era of climate action, utilizing digital assets, aka NFTs, to remove real-world carbon. The collectibles act as a CO2 sponge, removing carbon from the moment of minting and at each and every trade. These are literally the coolest NFTs on the blockchain, and if done right, will be the biggest carbon removal initiative ever. Our first collection, Island 1, will consist of only 100 pieces, where each piece will remove 1 ton of carbon and double as exclusive membership to the Very Cool Club. For this demo day, we're offering a small number of pre-sales to this 100-piece collection. Email us to secure your seat at the table, or if you're not quite on the NFT train yet, we'd love to invite you to be part of the Cool Club. Come cool with us.
Awesome, thank you. And lucky last in this round is Nilu, founder of Discover Locally, a marketplace to find local deals.
Hi, my name is Nilu, and I'm the founder of Discover Locally, a two-sided marketplace to find and book local deals in real time. Earlier in the year, I was trying to book myself a massage, and I had searched online for massage places near me. But then I was having to look them up individually or call them to find availability and compare prices. After having done this a couple of different times, I got this idea to create a platform where local businesses could advertise their availability and pricing, including any deals in real time. So this information could be found in one place. Then when I reached out to a few of the local businesses, including a few cafes, restaurants, and beauty clinics, I found out that all of these businesses had regular off-peak times, and most businesses did little to try and attract new customers during these times. I then conducted a survey, and 90% of who responded said that they were keen to try new places if deals could be found in the area of their interest at the time of booking. So with this information, I niched down to focus on connecting local businesses at their off-peak times with locals by sharing great deals. We're now gearing up for a market validation trial, focusing on an eastern suburb in Auckland and some of its local businesses. Recently, we've launched our landing page and also our Instagram channel. Discover Locally is a scalable platform that creates a win-win for both the local businesses by generating more revenue at their otherwise off-peak times, and for customers by finding best value for money through deals. To wrap up, my ask is that if you or someone you know is a business owner in the Auckland eastern suburbs that might be interested in partnering with us for our trial, please get in touch. Thank you for your time.
Awesome, thank you, Nilu. All right, now we have time for the judges round 1 of feedback. So we've got 15 minutes to ask questions or provide any feedback on those 5 pitches.
Hey, okay, I might start. April, did you want to start? You've come off mute.
No, that's okay, you go.
Okay, I had just one question around for Hannah for close friends.
Mm-hmm.
So what is your, so we've kind of done it. I mean, we've kind of done this a little bit already with Discord, where you can have a channel, you can drop in. I do it with some friends of mine as well, where we have a channel open and then you can drop in, say, we'll just be like, hey, on a Sunday, whenever you want to drop in, just drop into the channel kind of thing. How does it differ from doing that? But then also, how are you finding the friction for the use of another app. You know, we always talk about like, you know, another app, and how are you sort of finding that in terms of, you know, we've got all of these platforms at the moment, and then adding in another one, are you seeing early on the traction, like what's it telling you so far around the friction points that you're having?
I think there's like 3 questions there.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take them in turn. So first question is like, how is it different from a regular sort of group chat or channel? I think the main point is that you can add as many friends as you want, and they can be as like dispersed as you want them to be, and the messaging happens individually. So you don't necessarily need to organize like a big group chat or have separate channels for like your school friends and your parents and like whoever. You can just sort of have this like one friend list, and then you don't need to actually do a lot of organization yourself. You just sort of ping it out and it will cycle through. So it's kind of every person will just hear from you once, if that makes sense. And there's like less admin on your side for setting up different channels. The second question I think was around another app. How's the traction going so far? I think, to be perfectly honest with you, like I'm just launching now. So that will be TBD. Where I'm trying to go with it is I'm trying to integrate it into existing comms that people use in the first instance. So tagging it onto text, tagging it onto Facebook Messenger, and so on, so that people don't actually have to like download a whole other thing to use it. And I think with like that traction so far question, again, just looking to get those beta users signed up and looking for feedback at this stage to see how that goes.
Yeah, the integration piece sounds great. Thank you.
Thanks.
I might jump in. I've got a question for ConvertDial, which I love that pitch. Thanks a lot. And also congratulations all of you for being the first cabs off the rank to get us all started. So ConvertDial, I love the mission to help people with Shopify stores improve their conversion. I feel like you're going to be too cheap. I think you need to jack up your rates, and you can do that by quantifying the kind of outcomes shops can expect by having ConvertDial running. What's the kind of percentage increase could they see? And I think the 7-day trial might be too short for them to really understand the compelling proposition. So I'm sort of wondering whether you can think about that, the plans that you've got, and structure something where they can have the first month free, and that way they can see very clearly what their month revenue is like with ConvertDial in action. It makes it very obvious like what the benefit is, and they're more likely to just keep going with the subscription. So so that's sort of something I noticed. Now I'm just wondering, what you've thought about and tested with your pricing at the moment.
Thank you for the feedback. It's really, really good points, and they're both points I've juggled with a lot. And I think my process in this is that it's all around experimentation, because I've kind of landed on this price point and the trial options after research with some, the e-commerce businesses I've been working with. And it's always up for improvement. And I really think we do need to get more testers and more users on board so we can quantify with real stores. We've had a few through there, but I don't think it's enough. So that's the aim, to really get more stores using it. And yes, definitely a longer trial I think will be beneficial and get some kind of really solid case studies out there.
Yeah, cool. I do know someone with a Shopify store, so I'll see if I can hook you up and get them in your beta.
Thank you. That would be great.
All right, and maybe I'll jump in. I actually knew that when April got her hand up before me, she was going to reach out to ConvertDial because we're both customer junkies. And I was like, oh man, my question was for ConvertDial. So I'm going to actually go to a different company. But if we get a second time around, I have a question back for Megna, as well as a recommendation for a few stores that I would love to be part of your beta. So I'll go to Tabitha at AddendoVault. So, well, and again, I just want to say thank you all to all of the entrepreneurs who've just pitched to us you guys have done an amazing job getting your problems and ideas across in a short amount of time. So well done. So thinking about the fact that 75% of Australians haven't had the death talk, there's obviously some stigma and some discomfort around that topic. So what are some ideas you have for how you're going to get over that discomfort and stigma hump to acquire customers? What's your customer acquisition strategy?
Yeah, so I think the beauty about the platform is you actually don't need to have the conversation. That's I think, you know, I found it really confronting when my mum wanted to discuss it with me, because obviously she's never going to die. I'm never going to die. We're all never going to die. So I think that that's, you know, half of the beautiful part of this platform is don't have the conversation if you don't want to. But hey, if it opens a conversation, that's also great. The marketing is going to be really important. And I'm just sort of deciding whether I go down that really sort of in-your-face marketing and or a bit of a softer approach around death and grief and being prepared, and it's part of life. So yeah, I'm just linking up with a marketing company at the moment.
Just a piece of advice that you might want to think about, like, what are certain life stage moments that are the right time where people are kind of contemplating life, or you know, thinking about planning, whether that's like estate planning, or maybe they've just had a child or a grandchild, that they might be a little bit more thoughtful about kind of forward planning. So just maybe think about some of those life events and figure out how you can identify them and piggyback them and convert them to customers.
Yeah, awesome. Will do.
We have another 7 minutes, so you'll get to go around again.
I've got one if you haven't got one yet, Emily. I was interested in Nilu about Discover Locally. Great idea. I'm often looking for something to do on a weekend, and it's usually broadsheet I'm hitting up in Melbourne, or 1 hour out for things to do not too far from home in Melbourne. Which, let's face it, it's usually to do with food. Something I've noticed with people and their various memberships they have is, you know, memberships with the auto clubs, or, you know, things like that come with member benefits that often go unused. And so with Discover Locally, you're talking about businesses in the local area that might be able to have their off-peak times utilised by local people. I'm wondering whether you've thought about partnership opportunities beyond the businesses into maybe those other membership offers that go probably underutilised as well, and there could be data sharing opportunities with those member clubs, member organisations. You know, just thinking about those people who aren't using the things that they have available to them in their area.
Well, thank you, April, for that. No, I certainly haven't thought of that. That's definitely, I will be taking on board. Absolutely.
Well, Nilu, I'll follow up with a question for you.
Yes.
And next time, April, Alan, I'm going to ask questions before you, because you keep going after the companies that I have questions for. So we'll switch it up, but the judges will keep switching our order. So Nilu, one of the things that we know about these types of marketplaces, especially when you're trying to have real-time offers, that it's important that they're kept up to date. And so I was just wondering what your kind of product vision is. Will there be integrations into the business management software that these companies are already using, or do you actually plan on building out a suite of tools where you're kind of owning their calendaring and their reservation systems as well?
Okay, so for that, thank you for the question. So in that space, there are a few of what you'd consider a competitor of my product. In the food space, definitely there's an app that already looks at sort of booking in general, and also offers deals, so that there's some overlap there in that space. So I'm not really, and even in the beauty space, there's some platform that's out there that looks after only that back end of the booking system. So I'm not trying to be competing with that in that space. So my vision is to a separate system where when the off-peak times are, they would jump in and advertise directly through the separate system.
Cool. Emily, do you have another question?
Yeah, so I have one for Cool Points Club. So firstly, I love this. I've really enjoyed all of these pictures so far. So I'm taking notes and I'm sort of getting all my feedback going, but it's a very strong presentation. I love the idea. You might have trouble with the branding being so close to the anti-social social club, potentially in the long term, if you so keep that in mind. But it's very, very cool branding. I'm wondering, so you've done the cool gram thing, so I was just sort of like browsing your website as well. You've done the cool gram thing. We obviously know about things like offsetting carbon when you fly and things like that. Are there any other things that you're looking at in terms of, so with the cool points, so, is it about having this, like, what are you getting a piece of? So it's an NFT, like, just run me through that just a little bit. I know you had very, very short time to pitch and it's a huge area, so I completely appreciate that. But could you dig into that a little further?
Yeah, of course. Now, we started in Instagram to make it super easy to engage, right? Like how Kate and Nat sort of describe it, that's our wedge, just to get started, to make people reshape their mind to how you might deem climate action doable, right? Like take away the narrative from what we hear today. When you start to talk about the metaverse, and we could probably, or Web3 and that sort of space, we could be here for hours, right? But the idea is to make climate action ownable for the ownership era and collectible. So at the moment, you might compare it slightly to the way you might collect Flybuys points or air miles. What we want to be able to do with Cool Points, or in fact in Islands of Cool, is actually make this stuff collectible, ownable, and an asset that you can trade.
Okay, and what can you trade it for? So it will just be everything in the metaverse. So we'll make them NFTs, so you can trade the art that's attached to it, right? So for Islands of Cool specifically, what we're doing is it's what we call it as the coolest carbon negative art experiment on the blockchain. And we're actually building islands, digital islands with artists. But the idea is that could one day be something real in the metaverse that you could come to. That's completely carbon negative. But really, that's our funding mechanism, right? Like fund ourselves as a business to actually launch this thing, get it going. So it can become completely mainstream. Okay, great. Thank you.
Awesome. That is all we have time for. Thank you, companies. That was amazing. So next round, we have first up Anna, founder of EduObs, helping early childhood educators take higher quality observations of children's learning.
Hi, everyone. Can everybody see my screen?
Cool. Yep.
Hi, everyone. My name is Anna. I'm an early childhood teacher and the founder of EduObs. Most early childhood teachers who teach birth to 5-year-old children still use paper and pen to capture children's learning data, and then they will transfer this data onto a computer. This work method doubles teachers' workload and reduces the time they engage with the children. However, the data is very important because teachers use this data to write children's assessments and reports, which occurs every 3 to 6 months. This could be quite a stressful task if the data that they need is not logically organized. That's exactly why I founded EduOps, a software that puts early childhood teachers at the center and meaningfully solve this problem for them. It allows teachers to take observations anytime, anywhere, reliably with deep tech features that suit the early childhood teaching environment and don't require any training. We interviewed 50 plus potential paying customers, and they are happy to pay for this product. There are 1.3 million young children who require early childhood education and care service in Australia and 40 million globally. With the initial product, we estimate the annual revenue will be 7.5 mil, targeting the Australian market, and this figure will grow to 75 mil with the enhanced product. We are very keen to connect with any early childhood professionals and software developers to share this amazing journey together and do as much as we can for our future generations. So to know more about EduOps and myself, you can scan these QR codes to connect with me, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you very much.
Awesome, thank you, Anna. Next up, we have Sira, founder of Espy Travel, a platform that engages kids whilst they travel.
Thank you. G'day, my name is Sarah and I am the proud founder of Espy Travel. I love traveling with my girls, and Espy was born during one of these trips to Uluru. We drove 3 days across the country to get there, and that was my first challenge, entertaining my girls, who were then 7 and 9, for that length of time in the car, and there are only so many rounds of I Spy that I can handle. Once we were there, I spent a lot of my time reading the interpretive signs and then reinterpreting them to highlight the tidbits that my girls would be interested in, as well as what they could understand for their ages. We really loved the trip, but my goodness, I felt like there was something missing. And as a digital educator by trade, I just knew I could do better. Espy will be a digital platform that connects kids to Australian destinations. So say you're going to Uluru, just like we did, Espy is designed to give them a mindful digital experience to play with on the way to Uluru that builds excitement, sparks curiosity, and helps turn our kids from being literal passengers to active and excited members of our family holidays. In our post-COVID world, domestic travel is going to be the focus for many Australian families, and the time is right for a platform like this. We've come out of isolation, craving connection, and Espy will help get families talking, show kids how wonderful Australia is, and actively connect children with Aboriginal content. One of my core beliefs is that Aboriginal content should come from the traditional owners themselves. And to begin with, I've secured a partnership with the Anangu, who are the traditional owners of Uluru, as well as Parks Australia. I've had heaps of traction since joining Atto, including the launch of my family-friendly quiz show extravaganza podcast, which you can play wherever you're headed. The podcast is proving to be quite popular with hundreds of listens already, although some of them may just be my mum. I'd love to be put in contact with people involved with working traditional owners, as well as people involved in domestic tourism. I also want to thank Kate, Lana, Cheyenne, and the whole Atto team for all their help and support so far. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you, Sira. Next up, we have Shura, founder of Food Remedy Co., a tool to unlock benefits of everyday whole foods.
Hi, I'm Shura. I'm the founder of Food Remedy Co. I'm also a Chinese medicine practitioner with over 2 decades of clinical experience. A large part of my work is educating patients on the pillars of health. I'm especially passionate about teaching patients to eat a variety of nutrient-dense plant-based whole foods. There's a huge amount of public evidence that supports changing this diet, and I encourage patients to grow food and eat food as close to nature as possible, because eating food grown locally, seasonally and organically serves the community, environment and planet, and helps promote a sustainable food chain. The problem is that communicating the benefits of whole foods is clunky and time consuming, and the result is generally uninspiring. For practitioners, it's often paper-based, printing and passing individual food lists to patients. For businesses selling whole foods, it involves filtering health information online, copying and pasting it from multiple sites, saving it, then uploading it to blogs, newsletters, and e-commerce stores. There's a distinct lack of digital tools to make this an easy process. So I've intersected my passions of food, health, and tech, and I've created a digital database of whole food benefits. I'm converting this to an API product, licensing it to businesses, and enabling them to draw on this information in an automated way. To test market interest and show how the API can be used, I've created a web app. The app highlights the benefits of whole foods grown in my local community on the Surf Coast in Victoria, Australia. It shows businesses that supply these local whole foods and other opportunities to support a sustainable food chain. I've had a dozen local businesses sign up for inclusion in the app in the past 2 weeks. A link to the app will be posted in the chat today. I'd love everyone here to download it, try it out, and provide feedback on the features and their experience. This will help me iterate and continue to develop the app as an MVP and for my big vision of the API. And if you'd like a sustainable food chain app for your local community, please get in touch. Thank you.
Thank you, Shura. Next up, we have Kim, founder of GiveX, a charity payment platform with crypto donations.
Hi, my name is Kim Harrison and I'm the founder of GiveX, a payment solution that enables charities to receive cryptocurrency donations. I am an ex-regulator, but before I lose you there, I'm also currently studying my Masters of FinTech and working in the finance industry. So a few months ago, I identified that Australian charities are missing out on a huge amount of untapped revenue. Currently, they're either unable or unwilling to accept crypto donations for a number of reasons, including the perceived volatility and risk, along with a lack of knowledge of the space. Now, Australians own $8 billion worth of digital assets, with 1 in 6 owning some form of crypto. Our customer validation showed that 66% of people were either likely or very likely to donate crypto to a charity that accepted donations. They also identified 2 barriers to making a donation. Firstly, the uncertainty of the tax implications, and secondly, charities simply don't accept crypto. To remove these barriers, I created GiveX, and our solution enables us to send donations of crypto to charities. It's then immediately transferred to dollars and put into the charity's bank account. This minimizes the risk of volatility and allows charities to outsource the education, tech, and expertise around crypto to GiveX. And our business model is simple, a percentage-based transaction fee charged to the charity. So far in Atto, our biggest win has been validating the idea with potential users and getting the go-ahead from the regulator to begin to offer the service for transactions that are under $1,000. What excites me the most about our solution is that there's no one in the Australian market offering the service. It's scalable and there's precedent for the business model to be super successful. In the USA, for example, a similar service is on track to process $100 million worth of crypto donations in 2021. My ask today is that if you know anyone in the charity space that would love to open up this new revenue stream or simply learn more, please get in touch, because by enabling charities to better fulfill their missions using GiveX, we can truly change the world.
Awesome, thank you, Kim. Next up, we have Kirsten and Katerina, co-founders of Kidster, a gift registry for kids.
Hi everyone, just a moment. See that okay? Great. Hi everyone, I'm Kirsten and one of the co-founders of Kidster. Also here is my co-founder and sister-in-law, Kat. We're mums to 4 kids between us. Kids came from our frustration with kids gifting. Kids get so much stuff. Kmart reigns and our houses are filled with toys they only play with for a moment. As a parent, you're always having to come up with gift ideas for your kids or others. It's relentless. And we're not the only ones that think this. Our customer research validated the overwhelming majority think kids get too many gifts. Sorry. Kids get too many gifts. We often don't know what to buy, and so we often spend too much on gifts kids don't want. The kids gifting market value is well into the billions. 40% of adults buy more than 11 gifts for kids in a year, and the average spend per gift is $44. 75% of people love being told what to gift. The solution is Kidster. Kidster is the place people turn to for great kids gifting, a single destination to discover, share, and buy gifts. Kids gift wish lists, group gifting designed for kids, experiences and products as gifts, and gifting recommendation engines are some of the ways we'll make this happen. Kidster makes money primarily from selling merchants and a small transaction fee from customers who transact on site. During the Accelerator, we've seen great traction. We've validated the concept as well as our initial MVP functionality. We launched our coming soon landing page and already have over 100 people register their interest. And our MVP is about to imminently launch. We absolutely believe we can change kids gifting, but to do this, we need a strong community. So our ask is, if you know a kids gifting influencer like Zoe Foster-Blake, we'd love a warm intro. Thanks so much for your time today. We're excited for you all to become Kidster users.
Awesome, thank you, and nice persevering through your slides.
Thanks.
Next up, we have Sira from Mama Map, local discovery platform for parents.
Hi everyone, I'm Sarah Cavalier, the founder and editor of Mama Mag. I started Mama Mag in Melbourne 7 years ago, and today it's grown to become the largest free bi-monthly digital parenting magazine in Australia, with unique publications in almost every major city. Mums control almost 80% of consumer spending and are responsible for over $130 billion spent in Australia every year. So it's important to give these businesses a direct way to talk to this lucrative market. Over our 7 years, we've worked with some of Australia's leading brands who understand this importance, and I love being able to help these brands, but I'm equally passionate about supporting parents on their own journey as a mum or dad. And I started asking myself, how can I add more value? How can I support both brands and parents every day, not just every second month when a new magazine goes live? The solution to this is Mama Map. A new national online discovery platform, directory and app allowing parents to search for businesses and services relating to their parenting journey in their local area. Mama Map will cover a variety of categories, with each listing containing all the important information you'd want to know, along with photos and exclusive Mama Mag discounts and genuine parent-led reviews. Mama Mag will be free for users and will generate revenue from 3 paid business listings, depending on the number of locations and level of exposure a business desires. And also by offering a free business listing, it means there's no barrier of entry for businesses to get involved, which will mean it will help make Mama Map the most comprehensive online directory available. We've already begun signing up existing clients for MAP listings, and upon launch, we will target thousands of additional businesses to sign up. We'll also populate all the free listings like playgrounds and community services ourselves. With Mama Mag reaching hundreds of thousands of parents every issue already, we've already got our key advertising platform in the bag, and we'll also be tapping into our huge database of PR and media contacts. It's pretty handy being a magazine editor sometimes, to ensure that every Aussie parent knows about Mama Mag. I love being able to support parents by providing a free resource. So today I'm asking for introductions to marketing and partnership managers in large businesses who could benefit from working with us in an annual partnership to help fund and support us, but in turn get their brand in front of millions of parents via trusted publication annually. I'd also like introductions to any founders working in the online directory space for mentoring and support. Being a mum is the best job in the world, and Mama Map is here to make it even better. Join us at mamamap.com.au.
Thank you, Sarah. Awesome, it's time for another round of judges' feedback for 15 minutes. Rachel, would you like to go first?
She wants to get her question in now before April has a chance.
That's right. Step aside, April.
Step aside.
Wow, that one went quickly. I have so many notes. I'm trying to figure out where I should jump in. All right, let's go. I'll just start with Sarah, where we finished on Mama Mag. So first of all, love the idea, and I love that you already have the magazine, and you can leverage that audience. I think there's a really nice complementary kind of set of media that you can go across. Advertisers, businesses love to see ROI on their advertising spend. Is there any way that you are thinking about measuring how much traffic you're driving using Mama Map, how much traffic you're actually driving to that retailer or to that event or to that attraction?
Yeah, we should be able to create, what's the word? Mental blank. We'll be able to track it and give them reports. That's what I'm looking for. And also another key factor of the app, which I think will be really strong, will be the discount activity as well, which of course will be fully trackable for them because they'll be able to see people that are actually redeeming their special offers. And at the moment, the only other places doing that type of discount opportunity are actual paid subscriptions. So that will become very big for us because we'll be offering it to users for free.
And just, do you anticipate that it is a premeditated purchase? Like, as April said, looking at broadsheet, like, hey, what am I going to do with my kids on Saturday? And then looking at Mama Map, or is it more of a, spontaneous, I'm walking down the street in, CBD Melbourne, and all of a sudden something pops up because it's geolocated and said, hey, 10% off if you go to the NGV.
It'll be a bit of both because it'll be depending on what sort of category they're looking at. They might be down at a park with a friend and they'll be like, oh, we should go grab a coffee. What's around here? Open the map and it'll bring up all the local coffee shops. But it also might be, I'm looking for school holiday programs for the next school holidays. What's in my area? So, you're planning ahead for, a month or two's time. And it'll also work really well for families that are traveling, that are not familiar with the area that they are now in. So, I might go up to the Gold Coast and be like, oh, it's, quiet afternoon. We might just pop down to a playground. Are there any good ones around me? That type of thing. So, and then that will also be another marketing opportunity for travel as well, because it will be great for hotels to have that resource to offer their consumers and that type of thing. So yeah, there's just so many different avenues of usage involved.
Yeah.
In it.
That's my one piece of feedback is because there's so much opportunity, there's so many avenues of usage, so many use cases, so much content. You might want to just start smaller, right? Think about one or two specific use cases, one or two specific categories, and then build, learn from your customers and build from there. But, definitely, like you said, tons of opportunity. All right. Thanks, Sarah. All right, April, you're allowed to talk now.
Okay, well, I'll focus on Espy and EduOps. So, Sarah, if I could start by saying I think that's a great idea what you're doing with engaging the kids on the way to the destination. My kids are older now, but we've done international travel with young kids, and I've tried to get them journaling or whatever to try and help capture their own memories of from their perspective. So I like that you're coming at that sort of a thing, which is exciting. And with kids these days, especially on road trips, they've got an iPad in the back seat. So I can imagine there being really exciting ways to engage them. So my question really is about the business model. Given that people are sort of inclined to do one-off trips to somewhere, how are you thinking about it in terms of, will it be a subscription thing or is it a one-off thing? I'm not, it's not obvious to me how you would do that yet.
So at the moment, and particularly focusing Australia, it's a one-off. So for people, planning that trip to Uluru, they'll purchase that. Next up, I've got coming up behind is Great Barrier Reef, Ningaloo, the big meaty destinations. So I live in a holiday town called Bright in Victoria. And Bright is more of we're going to come here, we're going to sit in the river and we're going to relax for 3 weeks. That's not where this app is going. It's more for those destinations which will experience that holistic experience. And I just remember, we literally drove 3 days to get to Uluru, and the kids were like, why? This is just desert. Why are we doing this? And so to actually get them bought in, into that holiday would it just be so great. And to have them hop out of the car and go, Mum, this is why, look, these horizontal lines in Uluru, this is what happened 40 million years ago, and all this sort of thing. So it's just to build those connections and make it a bit more fun rather than just, I mean, by all means, give them Netflix and whatnot, but, give them this as well to kind of tune them in. So that's a model for now, and will continue to evolve as I mean, Australia's got lots of destinations, so I've got a lot of work to do.
Yeah. Okay, great, thanks. And Anna, EduOps. I was interested to understand who's your most likely buyer. Is it like a school or is it the teacher?
So right now I'm thinking of the center managers will be the paying customers. And then the second stage will be expanding to other early childhood teachers, student teachers, and like even teaching fellows at colleges and universities that offer early childhood education programs.
Okay, great. Yep. Cool. Easy question, easy answer. Thanks.
All right. Sorry, my dog wants to get up on my lap. Okay, I have really, I don't think I have a question necessarily, more just so for Espy Travel for Sarah. Great idea. I love your energy as well around it. It was really, really great pitch, really enjoyable. I'd love to connect you with Michaela Jade from Indigenal, who is a Cabral woman working on digital ed tech. And so I think this is a really nice way. I think that would actually be really, really interesting to see how you could connect in that sense. I know you mentioned Indigenous stories, and that's what she does. So really, really interesting. I think we should connect so that I can connect you with her. So
that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's
really all I wanted to say on that piece. I think that obviously from that point of view, all the specialization in that area, you would just get so much from her and from Indigital, which is her company. So and yeah, another really great company as well that she runs. My another sort of thing that I wanted to for Kidster for Kirsten and Katrina, yes, please, like I need this, because as someone who, I don't have kids, so as someone without kids, and we are the people who need this the most. We need the most help, because I struggle every time I need to get gifts for all of my friends' kids, and so I'm wondering, so you said you're going to take a clip. So are you going to have a registry? It'll be sort of like an affiliate link almost type of situation. So what are you taking? What's the clip of the ticket there for the business model is what I'm interested in, because I think this is absolutely without a doubt, like, please bring this to me. I'm interested in how you're going to make money off of it.
Well, obviously we've got to test it all, but the current model, if you like, is that we're trying to reduce the cost as much as possible for customers, so like yourself when you're buying gifts for others, because we don't want that barrier to use there, especially if we're going to be the global gifting destination. And so where we hope to make our money is through the merchants. And so it varies for the experiences. So if you use Red Balloon as an example, they take 15 to 20% clip of the ticket, if you like. But then when you look at products, and we would be hoping to sell things like like trampolines and basketball rings and, items like that, which are made possible through group gifting. Whereas at the moment, that's not really something that's on the table for, say, my daughter's 6th birthday party. I'm going to get 20 shitty gifts instead. So you can imagine then the margin on a trampoline versus, say, the experiences, that's where you also get it as well. So it really comes from the experience providers or the product providers. And then as we build out, the intention is that we would then have advertising packages available as well, because particularly for experience providers, the model's a little bit similar to Etsy in that suddenly all these little small businesses, so the local cooking school, they're rubbish at marketing. I've got 20 years background in marketing. suddenly we can help them have a presence online, and they are then discoverable, and suddenly they're getting inundated with all the local littlies that are interested in cooking because now they know that it exists. So that's sort of the idea. Does that answer your question?
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. It does. So basically the costs will be pushed onto the merchant to, you know, have more visibility and be on a registry. Yeah,
exactly. And hopefully, you know, the providers, particularly experienced providers, they wouldn't really have to do any other marketing. The idea is that they just turn to Kidster, and that could be their marketing solution, and they're done.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Just something to follow up. I think about this a lot as a parent with 2 young kids and a lot of shitty gifts being received and a lot of shitty gifts probably being given. Think about also tackling like class parents, because if you can get the class to commit, we will not give shitty presents. We will all do group gifting through this platform. That can be a really powerful one-to-many kind of customer acquisition strategy.
Yeah.
Do we have time, Sean?
You have 4 minutes.
All right. Well, maybe then
Rachel can do it in 4 minutes.
I'll ask a question to GiveX because we haven't spoken to Kim. Can I just get first some clarification, is the charity actually going to be holding the crypto asset, or are you converting the crypto to cash at that point in time?
Yeah, the charity won't be required to hold a wallet. I'll be converting it to charity on the exchange on their behalf.
At that moment
on the exchange,
so that they don't have exposure to the volatility of the crypto asset. They just receive the value at the time.
Yep,
so it's like
correct.
a Forex. Great.
Yep, perfect.
And so is your business model then you hold on to the crypto asset so that you take on the risk but also the upside?
No, it's that we immediately transfer it, and then we take a percentage of the transaction fee, like the donation amount, and charge it back to the charities. So that's where our business model will make money.
Okay. And so why then would a person want to gift crypto rather than she or he, as you use the example, mostly male? Why wouldn't he just sell the crypto asset and then give the cash to charity? What is the reason that the gifter wants to give crypto?
Yeah, a lot of millennials, we did some in our customer validation, we found that a lot of millennials hold their wealth in crypto, and that's what they want. In the end, what they want to do is be able to track their donation on the blockchain and see exactly where the money goes. So we're in the most, I guess, we have the most conscious consumers of all time. So I guess a future view for GiveX would be that we'd build out that blockchain solution so that the donor in the end can see exactly where that money goes, but that's into the future. This is just for our, I guess, lean MVP.
Okay, great. We have time for, I think, one more question to Food Remedy, but I don't want to hog it up. April, do you have a question for?
Yep, I can come to Shura, Food Remedy. Yeah, so I like the idea of being able to make sustainable food choices more easily and more delicious. So the complexity, I guess, with an app like this is you're selling to the businesses, right? But you've got to appeal to the consumer to have the consumer use the app to then go to the businesses. So what have you been thinking about to market to that end, to that outcome?
To market to the consumers?
Yeah.
I guess it's when they're also interacting with one business, then they have the opportunity to interact with a whole lot of other businesses that share those philosophies as well. So it's sort of connecting everyone within that community.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. So in that case, probably with the website, I had a bit of a poke around before today, is to give them a sense of with a demo of what it looks like once you get in there. So I know you've got the QR code to get the app, but to give them a bit of a sense of what it looks like once they're in, before them going through those motions, it might make it more appealing to then get them to try it.
Sure, thank you.
Cool, thanks.
Awesome. Lana, can we please have some music? I think we oh no, do we still have a few minutes? I think we might have another time for one more question, and then
could I ask one to Shura then about so my question, and I'm not entirely familiar with the actual application yet, but is one of the things that I was thinking as you were talking about it is one of the great things would be is to see the integration to see stores that have organic produce. Have you thought of doing anything around that? So there's particular large scale supermarkets that have stock organic produce and there's ones that don't. And this is something that I just don't think that we've cracked. So have you seen anything in that space that, you know, might integrate here with, you know, just seeing, you know, hey, this store has organic produce, this store has more organic produce, this has, you know, less, you know, are you seeing any room for that in?
Yeah, absolutely. So part of what I've done there is categorize businesses according to their sustainability principles. So you can look up if they have biodynamic produce or organic produce, or if they have sustainable seafood, and also an opportunity for them to have a description about what they offer as well. So it may be that they have organic vegetables, but they don't have organic meats or things like that. So they, the customer can get more information that way.
Okay. All right. Great. All right. That makes sense. Thank you.
Our next pitch is going to be Lauren, founder of Nanny Pay, an all-in-one payroll solution for nannies. Lauren, are you ready?
I am. Thank you. I'll start. The ATO estimates that 80% of nannies are paid cash in hand. In an industry made up of 99% female workers, we once again see them missing out on what they're entitled to when it comes to being paid fairly in what is the oldest profession in history. My name is Lauren and I'm the founder of Nanny Pay, a payment facilitation service for domestic workers. I have spent the last 15 years working with hundreds of families in the nanny and childcare industry, including running a successful nanny agency and personally nannying for over 100 families myself. I'm the president of the Australian Nanny Association, where I take great pride in representing the industry towards better solutions for all involved. I am not just building businesses for this industry. I'm going to fix it, because since COVID, we have seen a surge in families needing nannies, and the demand for in-home help has never been higher. Domestic payroll and employing in the home can be time-consuming and confusing for both nannies and families. So Nanny Pay is an end-to-end solution where we educate both sides and set the family up for their employment obligations like tax, super, and workers' compensation. Each fortnight, we direct debit the whole amount for the payroll report, send it to them, and it only costs $57 a fortnight, with the parents not doing anything. From there, we transfer the wage, super, and tax accordingly on their behalf. This financial year, we are tracking to pay over $1 million in wages to Australian nannies. And that's $100,000 in super payments that may not be in the funds of its industry workers. And many nannies are receiving things like leave entitlements for the first time in their career. We've streamlined the operations through integration. So right now, we don't have tech on the horizon, but we are ready to take on hundreds of families with the current system. We've signed on our 7th payroll partner to gain users from agencies and job platforms that offer payment services only, helping them secure their workers in a fair and legal working arrangement. I look forward to expanding to include more payment scenarios to support domestic workers. Since lockdown, people are getting smarter about their lives and how they can outsource the chaos in the home. Today, I ask that if you know of a nanny being paid cash, please refer them or their family to Nanny Pay. And even if it's not us, I'd love to help them set up a way to make payment that's fair and legal. And finally, I'm looking for connections for others who have pioneered a pathway for their industry to make positive change for the future. Thank you.
Thanks, Lauren. Also, next we have Carly, founder of Photogenie, simplifying photo organizing, management and preservation.
Thanks, Sian. We all love photos. We take photos to document our lives. Our grandparents, our parents, they all took photos on film, and today we use digital photos. My name is Carly Michael, and I come from a family who's run a camera shop called Michael's Camera out of the centre of Melbourne CBD for the last 100 years. Since 2011, I managed the Photo Lab, and due to COVID, we closed the business and I realized it's time to innovate. Using all my skills, I've now become a professional photo organizer and founded Photogenie to solve the problem of photo overwhelm. Our photos are everywhere and they're disorganized and they're mismanaged. And the problem is that if we don't act soon, our photos and memories will disappear. All photos will not last the test of time. All physical photos will deteriorate, and hard drives are designed to last 3 to 5 years. What about cloud, you ask? When was the last time you read Google or iCloud's terms and conditions, which are constantly changing? Did you know that from July 2022, Google will delete photos that haven't been opened or viewed in 2 years from free accounts? iCloud can delete your account if your credit card expires, and if you don't nominate a custodian to your photos, they cannot be transferred to anyone else when you die. The only way to preserve our family histories and photos is to have them systematically organized. And with the advancements of technology, and I'm talking the metaverse and the likes, which are going to give us brand new ways of interacting with our photos and videos, if we want to be able to use our photos on these platforms, they'll need to be accessible and in order. Most photo organizers are service-based businesses, but I'm building an MVP using tech to simplify, automate, and reach the masses because everyone needs this. If you want to join me on this journey or stay in the loop, sign up at photogenie.com.au. Thank you.
Yeah, I think I might be your first customer. Awesome. So next we have Kristina, founder of PropMe, a property management app for investors and developers.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kristina, and I'm the founder of PropMe. PropMe is a mobile app plus platform for property investors and small-scale property developers. I'm a full-time real estate agent and a property investor myself. So when I started my journey, I was struggling to find the software to support and efficiently organize my portfolio. It was a big pain point, which urged us to research what other investors do. So this research reveals that most of them haven't found a good enough solution how to store and process information about their properties. So according to Atto, there are over 2.2 million property investors, and we believe that our key market is investors who manage their properties without any professional help, also investors who engage property managers but still need additional admin support, and developers who work on 1 to 2 residential projects per year. So we came up with an idea to develop the app that helps investors to store all important property information in one place, also to track financial activities and generate statements, and provide analytics that helps to maximize their cash flow and help them make better decisions in the future. So we plan to make money from subscription ranging from $10 to $25 per month, depending on the plan and the size of their portfolio. So during the Atto Accelerator program, we got some good traction. We have conducted over 30 interviews with qualified investors to identify their needs and got 18 of them to test our MVP at the early stage, with over 40 property profiles to be active weekly. So if you have or plan to get an investment property, feel free to subscribe to our newsletter to make the best out of your investment journey. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. Next up, we have Carolyne, founder of Schematic Intelligence, a real-time emergency management services platform.
Thank you, Sian, and good day, everyone. My name is Carolyne Huber, one of the 3 co-founders representing Schematic Intelligence. We combined our emergency services industry knowledge with our technology and sales experience to build a tool to help our emergency services heroes respond to floods. While we're focused right now on this market, our vision is much bigger, and we will extend into other markets like agriculture next year. Now, imagine you've been told to prepare to evacuate your home, your most treasured possessions, your life, as the water banks a kilometer away continue to rise. In Eastern New South Wales in March 2021, in just 1 week, 18,000 people were forced to flee their homes, and emergency services responded to over 1,000 flood rescues. And as recently as Monday, this happened again to friends and families across New South Wales, Queensland, and the NT. Climate change means extreme rainfall will continue. The issue is that emergency management professionals are still working with numerous pieces of information across paper and different software systems to make critical decisions to preserve your safety and your life. This is ineffective. So this is why we've built our software, Schematic Intel. By using it, emergency management services and the public can create, collect, access, and share interactive intelligence data from external systems all in one schematic, allowing emergency management professionals to make decisions faster. Go to our website to check out our demo. Since July, we've completed over 20 customer discovery sessions with emergency management professionals, organizations, and government agencies across the world. And we validated the need for our product with these services. Our users tell us we are democratizing access to traditional tools so that they can notify populations of flood risks in real time to help save lives and keep our community safer, quicker. Our business model, which is to be validated during our first paid pilot, will be a combo of fee-for-service to develop schematics and a subscription model to use the software. We're asking emergency agency networks and organizations to get in contact with us on email to participate in a paid pilot. And if you want to support us in this journey and be part of a collective solution to climate change, head on to our website and sign up, and sign up for a mailing list. Thank you. Just on time.
You made it to the end. There you go. Thanks, Caroline. Next up, we have Madlen from Share the Load, an app supporting more equitable mental load distribution in relationships.
Thanks, Sian. What are we going to have for dinner? We need to do a grocery order. Have we booked tours for all of the childcare centres? Which will support her development best? After Atto today, I will RSVP to Christmas invites, sort the calendar, get 2.5 loads of laundry done. I'll chat to Brad about the cadence for the rest of the week and make some time for couple time. I'm Madlen Toumbourou, mental health professional, mother to a 10-month-old, community organiser and founder of Share the Load. Share the Load offers a toolkit and community supporting more equitable distribution of mental load. What the research tells us. Australian women complete 50 to 75% more domestic labour and thinking than their male counterparts, and this includes women in full-time employment. Relationships in which there's perceived inequality are 3 times more likely to end in breakup. On the flip side, perceived closeness, shared responsibility, openness to change are highly correlated with happy, healthy relationships. The burden of mental load is hugely problematic. It reduces capacity for creative, meaningful activity, and it impacts mental health. In couples, it breeds resentment, disconnection, and reduced intimacy. I engaged with 220 people, mostly women, about their mental load, and was absolutely blown away by what they shared with me. This is a hot topic. 80% said that mental load distribution was an issue in their relationship, and 60% have tried to solve the problem and overwhelmingly have not succeeded. Last week, I launched the Share the Load MVP. It's currently being used by 50 couples. It's a toolkit in which couples catalogue, prioritise, and redistribute mental and domestic load. Couples set a vision for success and interrogate the status quo through reflective questions. And the Share the Load community is an online platform for peer-to-peer support, expert interviews, and advocacy. As I grow towards my paid membership model, I invite the audience today to head to the Share the Load website, complete the survey, and sign up for updates. I recently learned the phrase eating my own dog food, and that's exactly what I've done. I've had the tricky and exciting conversations, redistributed the load, and now I have the cognitive space to focus on my mission with Share the Load and pitch to you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Madlen. Lucky last in this round, Kate, founder of She Lion, hybrid wear for the office and remote work world.
You're on mute, Kate.
Someone had to do that today. Hi, again, my name is Kate and I'm the founder of Sheline. Having worked as a lawyer for many years, I'd become frustrated at not being able to find a bag that suited my needs, so Sheline was born in 2015. Originally, we solved the problem many women face when trying to locate something specific in their handbag, only to pull out their entire life in that very cruel Mary Poppins-like nightmare moment to find the one item they needed to perform. The pandemic arrived in 2020 and the problem we solved, work bags made for commuting and organisation, became redundant. Keen to overcome 40% losses in sales, 30% increase in logistics and many logistical nightmares, I was keen to live our company values and walk fearlessly to create a product that was entirely end-to-end Australian made and sustainable, support as many other small businesses that I could gather in the process and provide customers with a much needed spring in their step, knowing they were supporting my business, but also 300 plus ethically and responsibly paid employees across 22 other Australian small businesses in the manufacture of this new product. Enter our 100% cotton, 100% Australian made sweaters emblazoned with the words support local and actually I can. Now, the problem, in as much as saving my business has primarily been about continuing to adapt to this new world, as we emerge from lockdown, handbags are having a revival. But fashion itself and workwear has changed. A recent global brand report surveyed 1,000 Australians about corporate wear, revealing, no, you won't be seeing tracksuits in the office just yet, but people no longer want to choose between style and comfort. With this in mind, we're excited to lean into creating an entirely new fashion category for this new hybrid working world. Empowered apparel, clothing that feels like loungewear but is polished enough to pop into the office at a minute's notice. A range that's entirely Australian made, raises awareness about Australian manufacturers, supports Australian jobs, and is purposely made with a hidden mantra sewn into the inside seam to remind you, the wearer, to walk fearlessly and know you're empowering each of the manufacturers in this all-Australian slow fashion supply chain. My ask is that you get behind this story. Please share our video which captures the journey to date. Let's rebuild Australian manufacturing. Let's create a more sustainable slow fashion model of timeless, comfortable pieces suitable for anything that life throws at you so that you can truly and always walk fearlessly. Thank you.
Love the energy. Just like that. We're at the end of another round. Judges. Emily, do you want to go first this time?
All right. So my question, well, actually, it's not a question. It's really just for Nanny Pay. I love what you've done. I have a question, and then also another sort of idea that you could consider for offering, or maybe have already. But so what is so for the agencies, that's great. For the families who are doing the cash in hand, yeah, I assume that that's so that they can, get a cheaper rate, not pay a fair wage and those sorts of things. What's the incentive for them to then come on to Nanny Pay if that's the way that they've kind of, gone about it?
Yeah, good question. First of all, there's huge liabilities paying cash in hand. So if the nanny falls over in the home, they're deemed liable. So there's the legal side. Not only that, if the nanny turned around and went to Fair Work Australia or suddenly wanted super, they are liable. But I don't like to do fear mongering. That's just kind of the point that really gets them across the line. And with the current trend we're seeing in nannies exploding in Australia, because au pairs left the country, people need help with homeschooling. Most parents want to do the right thing because you're paying cash in hand. That nanny is like, oh yeah, that's my pocket money. But when you're getting a pay slip and you're putting in timesheets, it really validates it as a career. And so we see better retention rates, happier nannies, and just people that are like dedicated to this as a job. So I think the quality goes up. I think the employment satisfaction goes up. And then if anything happens, the family is rest assured that they're doing everything right.
And are you organizing? So I know you mentioned about payroll and things like that. Are you organizing all of that? So you're sort of that one-stop shop?
My partner is an accountant, so that's the biggest thing we have over families. If you want to do it yourself, you're going to be on the phone to the ATO for hours. You're going to have to understand how it all works. So my accountant partner, Sarah, she is going to basically set that all up for them. And we just, honestly, nannies, so many nannies come onto Nanny Pay and they've never been employed before. Some have no super. So we're a big education support system. That's something we have over our competitors, because there are other services right now that are almost like very little human connection, whereas I'm on the phone to every nanny that comes on. I explain how it works, and we've got a great team I've got people available 7 days a week to answer questions on emails and stuff like that.
Okay, so my a bit left field, maybe. No, it's not really that left field, but another idea for you to consider if you haven't already would be starting your own superannuation company as an additional product offering.
I have a great relationship with Verve Super, and so we're doing a lot of collaboration with them because I got enough on my plate.
Yeah, so
Verve Super, we've got some massive PR stuff coming because there's actually a superannuation rule in Australia that determines that if a domestic worker is doing 30 hours a week or less, the family doesn't have to pay super. So that's what I mean about the industry change. We need to get louder because it's time to reshape it. This industry's been forgotten. And so we've made great leeways. 2 years ago, we got an award rate for the first time. So that's what I mean. It's chicken and egg. I've got to fix the industry first, because
then you'll build a super company.
Then I'll build a super fund. Exactly.
April or Rachel?
Well, I was just gonna say we should cut Lauren some slack. I remember meeting Lauren in 2017 when she launched Nanager. She has a lot on her plate, and she has certainly been trying to
and I'm just like start a superannuation fund.
Yeah, just casual fintech on top of her like Nanager, like create a new category, create a marketplace, now create a financial service. Cool. Lauren, good to see you again.
Yeah, hi.
All right, I want to talk to Madlen and share the load. So very much understand the cognitive load issue and the default parent challenge that exists in so many couples. It's funny, until, this was kind of talked about in my relationship, I was the default parent. And so I'm looking at your app and I'm thinking, will the default parent just be the one managing the app and managing the task? So tell me a little bit about the product and how that's going to work to ensure that from the start, because I remember once saying to my partner said, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. And I was like, shit, I don't need another person to manage. So how are you going to make sure that the actual managing of the things to do on the app starts from an equitable spot? And just what does the app look like as you envision it?
Thanks so much, Rachel. So I'll start by saying that I have evolved my thinking since joining Atto. So initially I was quite set on it being an app. At this stage, the MVP sits in a workbook. And like I said, I've got 50 couples testing it. So I'm really wanting to see what comes out of that and how it's adopted. And, is there a she-fault parent in this, the default she-fault? And how do the women, because it's mostly women that have signed up to use it, get buy-in from their partners? What I've embedded into it so far is that reflective question. So it starts with a conversation and it starts with connection and it starts with, okay, let's discuss how we're going to hold each other accountable. What's a shared vision of success? And how are we going to both contribute to this? Which, like you said, could be the first barrier. If it was to be an app, my initial thinking was that it would be a shared access to it and it would do some of that executive thinking work. So reminders pop up for each partner. Something else that I've been thinking about as well, and sort of in my coaching through Atto, is how can we embed outsourcing in this as well? So neither partner has to own specific load. And so, yeah, that's something to explore too. I will come back to you when I have an answer to how we avoid the default. That's certainly a really big part of the problem.
Well, we'll come back to me because when the product is ready, I would like to try it. And also, if you think that this is a heteronormative problem, I assure you that in my 2-mom relationship, there's still a default parent. So we all need it. Your total addressable market is large.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh well, yeah. I've been there. I know all about that. So I could have so many questions and conversations in this particular batch. And I'm really sorry, but I will have to come back to Nanny Pay for a follow-up question. But then I want to talk to Photo Genie. I was interested in the positioning, Lauren. You're positioning for the parents as opposed to selling to the nanny. So I sort of feel like, if I had found a great nanny, I would just do whatever she told me. If you want me to pay through Nanny Pay, I'll just do it. Like, tell me what to do. I'll throw money at you. So can you tell me why you've arrived at pitching to the parents?
I've been in the nanny industry for 7 years now, and I've volunteered that entire time on the Australian Nanny Association. Also, I have had manager for 5 years where I've placed hundreds of nannies. And I guess you could say I'm connected to all the nannies because it's a small industry. So I take it very seriously about the movement I'm creating. And from day one, I've been an advocate of fair and legal wages, and I have that reputation. So I guess I do, when I have the thing, well, where did you hear about us? I often get from our nanny. So I guess my reputation, but the decision lies with the family. And quite often the nanny's like, I don't know how it all works, but because they don't know, neither side knows. So we have a lot of lead funnels set up across the payroll partner websites, the job platforms, where I actually have some calculators and a free consultation to talk about their offer. Because even if they don't choose Nanny Pay, the team just love getting on the phone and educating them about why it's important.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thanks for that. And Photo Genie, love that. I've literally been through my Photos app on my Mac last week, trying to classify into smart albums and all that. I think I'll be signing up. So I was curious about the MVP. I can see, I went through the website and can see all the services, but could you explain what your MVP will offer?
Great question. And it's been difficult because this is, I've been a service-based business and everyone else in my business is service-based. So that's been the journey for me through Atto, discovering how I can make this scalable. And I think a lot of it's going to come to, and I tested this with my survey, how much are people willing to do themselves and follow instructions? So I think at the beginning, it's going to be something very simple, like a type form, logical process where I can basically find the people who are willing to follow their own instructions, fill in their own spreadsheets, etc., to do most of the work themselves. Because I, from my experience, about 50% of people said they were happy to do, like, to participate, and then have like a concierge type service. So maybe have a network of people who'll go in, if I'm starting Melbourne, collect the items from people's houses, or once they sign up, then they receive a box with instructions. They have access to support, etc. But just to see how much I can streamline people doing it themselves, at least to begin with. It's very difficult because tech-based and the tech changes all the time. So a really hard part is extracting photos. Where I have started is videos. I'm finding a lot of success and popularity with VHS tapes and old movie reels. So that's where I'm focusing my MVP, to start with videos.
Okay, yeah, great.
We have 7 minutes left. Does anyone have a question for some of the others?
I'll quickly ask a question of Kate. I am one of those people who have gone 18 months without wearing hard pants. And now that I'm back in America for the last few months, I've had to suit up again. And I don't mean suit, I literally just mean jeans. Tell me, aside from the products that you're offering, these empowered apparel, which I love the ideas, what have you learned about what has changed in retail or in buyer behavior? And how do you plan to apply that to your business going forward?
Well, so much of the retail landscape that has changed has been a focus on obviously digital and everybody moving to e-commerce. Luckily, my business has been wholly e-commerce anyway, and the growth strategy is absolutely about getting more drop shipment arrangements in place and being involved in more marketplaces. But I think the biggest trend is about people being incredibly conscious about what they're purchasing. And so actually having that clear transparency around the supply chain, people being a lot more conscious about buying into a slow fashion piece, and people wanting to know where their garment has come from, beyond it also being obviously functional and comfortable. And so that's been a really important piece in this process for me as well. And that's the perfect time to start raising awareness about Australian manufacturing. We have such an amazing skill set here that I have been manufacturing handbags and designing handbags overseas for years, and would have thought that I classified myself as someone who was in the industry and understood a bit about manufacturing in Australia. And I was shocked at how complicated and technical it was to make a sweatshirt, let alone a blazer and some elasticated pants that look like suit pants that don't need to be ironed, that look amazing and will wear perfectly. It was just amazing. And then I felt like I needed to capture all these stories of these sensational manufacturers that are literally like titans of survival, who've gone through that whole process of everything being made in Australia and then it all being moved overseas. And now with this obstacles in manufacturing overseas and this really conscious buyer and people wanting to be ensuring that people making their garments are paid ethically and in responsible working environments, and that things are upcycled, and that there's an actual sustainable trail and a piece to that. Capturing these stories has been incredibly important, and I feel like that's the big trend for me. Does that answer your question? Sorry, I think I gave you a lot more information.
No, that's great. It's funny. I love that people like you can see how much more needs to be done and still want to be in that business. I'm like, that's so scary. So good on you for tackling it, and can't wait to see your products come to life.
Thank you.
Who's next? We have 4 more minutes.
Okay, I wanted to come to Carolyne's Schematic Intelligence. So I noticed you talked to the flood management issue, but there's plenty of other natural disaster issues that we have to contend with here. So I'm sort of wondering whether it can apply in other instances, like, the Country Fire Authority and other sort of emergencies.
Yeah, thank you for the question, April. We've explored that as an option, and it can. However, through our customer discovery, they have indicated in Australia that a lot of progression has been made in fire management and technology. However, the floods as itself is an underserved market. And so they're saying not to discount it as an opportunity. However, there's a lot of potential and opportunities, and there's a need, unfortunately, as we've seen this year, with La Nina coming through, and it's going to be a wet summer, and what's happening overseas in Canada, for example, is in BC, that this will be a market that will continue to grow, unfortunately, because of what's happening. Yeah. Does that answer your question?
It does. Yes. Okay. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah. Oh, do we have time? Or we done?
Yep. No, you can go again.
I just wanted to prompt on for schematic intelligence as well, like just add on. So I've seen a few attempts at this and a few sort of management platforms for these types of things. How are you thinking about your, I guess, have you created your MVP?
Yes, it is. It's a working tool at the moment that's available. People just sign up and we can give them access to the editor viewer, the editor portion, as well as the viewer portion, to see what it looks like in real time. And it's linked to live open source data at the moment. Yeah.
Okay. And what's the next step for you?
So at the moment, we're actually waiting to get validation on a number of agencies to actually work through what that paid pilot will look like. So that's the roadmap from a flood component there, and to determine their tick list of wishes that they'd like from a tech perspective. After that, we have in parallel also opened the caveat of agriculture being another industry. But for the time that we've had in this accelerator, we focused on that. But in parallel, the agriculture one, we're looking at it more through some initial feedback as a water retention management tool for restorative agriculture farming, as water will continue to be a scarce resource. So it's a sector that we have on our horizon, and we're conscious that one might take over the other based on propensity to spend on doing a paid pilot. But those are the two that we're targeting at the moment, in addition to being in contact with people overseas as well, like we've mentioned, to explore with agencies and organizations. And we're looking to put this into a software as a service. So we have like a tech journey as well as to go into other markets.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Round 3. Now, lucky last. Now, I would like to welcome Nina, founder of Shura Skincare, leading the way for skincare for women of color. And I'd just like to say that Nina has potentially lost her voice, so she might need extra encouragement, but welcome.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Nina and I am the founder of Sira Skincare, Australia's first inclusive skincare brand targeting chronic skin conditions in an often ignored consumer base. Sorry guys. Growing up, I often experienced a skin reaction called hyperpigmentation. And when I set out to treat it, I began to notice that there was truly a lack of innovation, accessibility, and effective products for the skin condition. I couldn't find a single product that truly assisted with this issue, or it would leave my skin worse off. And what I experienced was actually a very common occurrence. Research indicates that many skin trials and studies lack a lot of diversity in participants, and the efficacy of popular skincare ingredients are usually just tested on wider skin tones. So for skin conditions that commonly occur in people of color, example, the hyperpigmentation I experienced, this consumer is left with the least effective solutions. Sira Skincare creates products for chronic skin conditions to this commonly underserved consumer. Our first range of products will address hyperpigmentation, and in the future, we will expand to different skin concerns with this lens of effective solutions for all skin tones. We are starting out with an e-commerce model through our website, and over time, we will expand by going into beauty retailers with a wholesale model. So far, we have launched our website, and our social media channels. We have also tested our products on over 30 users, which has received amazing feedback, and we have 75 email subscribers as well. That's some of the feedback we've received. To finish up, there are a lot of players in the skincare market, but no one is doing what I'm doing. There has been a true lack in innovation and accessibility in products for a consumer like me struggling with a really common skin condition. So if you or anyone you know struggles with hyperpigmentation, sign up to our email list, and I would also love to be connected with any experts in the beauty or e-commerce space. Thank you.
Awesome, well done. Don't worry about your slides, that was great. Awesome, cool. Next we have Kelsey, founder of Staked, kickstarting tradie businesses.
Hi everyone, I'm Kelsey and I am the founder of Stacked. Earlier this year, I had a friend who owns his own trade business, asked me to help him with some branding, logo, business cards, t-shirts, vehicle branding, etc. As a graphic designer, I agreed to help. I quite quickly realised he was operating his business with his primary school email address and basically scrap pieces of paper. This blew my mind, but looking around, I noticed how many other tradies were operating in the exact same way. Tradies make up just under 30% of the Australian workforce. More than a third of them work for themselves already or state that they wish to go out on their own someday. The problem is that trade schools and TAFEs teach them how to master their craft, but nothing about running or starting a business. So I am here to help. Stacked provides full stack solutions to help tradies go out on their own or professionalise their existing business. We provide all-in-one packages from branding to accounting software to securing domains and Google presence. There are two customer segments: existing tradies or existing trade businesses who need a revamp, or tradies who are going out, or tradies who are just starting out on their own. We provide all-in-one packages. Sorry, lost my train of thought. We self-launched in November and have just had some awesome initial feedback on the convenience and time saving of our all-in-one packages. We make money through an initial setup fee starting from $1,500 and then a monthly administration fee to maintain their domain, website, etc. I believe in a future where all tradies are professionally presented both in person and online, and where scrap pieces of paper and Hotmail email addresses are obsolete within business. My ask is, if you know any tradies who could benefit from this service, send them my way. I'd love to help. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Kelsey. Next up, we have Taryn, founder of STEAM Troopers, a literacy learning app for kids.
Thank you, Sean. Share my screen. Can you see that?
Yep.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
Oh, yep, you're good.
Hello, everyone. I'm Taryn, and I'm founder of STEAM Troopers. Innovation and creativity in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math will be the drivers of the future. Many of the jobs our children will be asked to fill don't even exist today. There is a gap in the STEM education our children receive in primary school years, and our education system does not adequately fill this gap. Children need to be taught how to think critically and solve problems. Having worked in tech companies for over 2 decades and mentoring many young girls and women along the way, and as a parent to 2 young girls, I knew it was important to equip my children with STEM skills, critical thinking, and problem solving. When I started researching the market, I understood how hard it is across the board for parents to access affordable, engaging STEM learning experiences for their children. STEAM Troopers is a science and engineering immersive-based learning app that breaks down stereotypes and inspires primary school age children to tinker, play, and learn. Prior to Atto, I had created and built a prototype and tested it with primary school children in a classroom setting. During Atto, I focused on the home environment with parents as the primary buyer, as I was keen to explore the market and understand parents' needs in the space. I've completed 25 interviews with parents, educators, and experts in the industry. A survey that I put out to parents has collected 21 responses so far. I've also created a landing page and started curating my email list. And I'm currently value proposition testing. I'm doing value proposition testing via social media. 5 things that I've learned from parents is that the majority of parents lack the confidence, knowledge, and time to support their children's curiosity and interest. Parents' biggest challenge is not knowing how to choose appropriately targeted science and engineering learning experiences for their children. Parents are time poor and wish to free up their own time. And parents have a deep desire to future-proof their children and inspire their children's future career paths. A meaningful online learning experience for their child will help them look good, despite the child spending time online. It matters to parents that their child is having fun while learning. My next steps are to continue with the value proposition testing via social media, because this will help us understand where to focus our energy and money, to conduct one-on-one interviews with children and put a survey out to children, and to create the STEM app MVP. My ask today is for introductions to EdTech startups, companies, and founders in the Southeast Asian marketplace, and connections with other STEM educators. To close today, the STEM Troopers app will provide access to quality and engaging STEM learning experiences, break down stereotypes, and inspire children worldwide to tinker, play, and learn. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Taryn. Next up, we have Alana, founder of Time Tink, a platform to record real-time data for working learners.
Sorry, I've hit screen share. Okay, I'm on it. Okay. My apologies. I'm just try again. Ah.
We can see your slides.
That's okay. I can't see anything. Okay. Sorry about the, you wouldn't think I do this for a living. My name's Alana Harris. I'm the founder of Time Tink. It's a platform that captures, verifies, and reports students' practical hours tied to a qualification. I have 25 years of higher ed experience. I've been a student, a lecturer, an administrator, a researcher. I've been involved in governance and design. Over those years, I've seen a lot of things change, but the way that students capture, verify, and report practical hours associated with their qualification has not. So I set about to change that. Many institutions include practical experience as part of their qualifications. These activities are referred to as work integrated learning, or WIL, and they comprise of two parts: a record of the hours that the students worked and assessment of that work. The most recent figures available show that there are over 500,000, or that over 500,000 of these WIL activities took place in the Australian university sector in a single year. But this number is growing, and it's growing quite quickly to meet the demands of job-ready graduates. The problem is that traditionally, recording, monitoring, and reporting of these hours has been a manual process captured on paper or a series of random spreadsheets, which is time-consuming, clunky, and often inaccurate. So Time Tink was developed to digitise and automate this process. In essence, the learner records their hours on their phone, sends it to their supervisor of their work or their project, who can verify those hours with a single click, and those hours are updated with the university in real time. It does away with the paperwork and streamlines data to provide quick oversights or detailed student records. Time Tink uses a two-tier subscription model, starting from $20 per student per month. I've drawn on my networks to research and develop my MVP, which is ready for testing and piloting. I'm looking for a partner for a paid trial at the completion of my pilot. I'd also like to invite you to check out my website and follow my socials to learn more about Time Tink. The demand is there and the market is ready for a solution. I thought I'd just include this comment that I received from an email last week after discussing Time Tink. And this came from an ASX company that services the vocational and higher ed markets in Australia. So there is clearly a demand for this product. Thanks for your time, and I welcome your feedback.
Thank you. Next up is Michelle, founder of Up for Change, a social micro-fundraising app for charities.
Thanks, Sean. Hey everyone, my name's Michelle and I'm the Chief Changemaker at Up for Change. Now, be honest, have you ever tried to avoid the charity spookers out the front of the supermarket or screened a charity calling at dinner time for the 3rd time in a week? You're not alone. Sorry. 86% of us stop giving to charities due to too frequent requests for money. Australians hate being hassled for money. Now, I run 2 charities, so I get it, and I work at Zoos Victoria. My passion is to connect people to wildlife issues and inspire them to help out. I really want to leave this world in a better place than it is now. To do all these wonderful things, though, charities require time and money. We're a really generous nation. We value the role of charity, but we want to give on our terms, support causes that we're connected to or passionate about, not by being hunted down with a clipboard as we run in for some milk. Introducing Up for Change, a social roundup donation platform that provides a really simple, hassle-free and transparent way to connect with and donate to causes that you care about. Tell us what you're interested in. We'll create a personalised video feed so you can explore, follow and support the awesome work being done by nonprofits in that space. Then securely link your card, set your roundup limits, and every time you make a transaction, your spare change will be rounded up to the nearest dollar and automatically donated to your preferred cause. Or do a one-time donation, hassle-free giving at its best. Learn all about your favourite charity's micro goals, see your gift at work, and even have a say in where you'd rather your funds to go. There's no cost to donate, we never see your card details, and gifts are tax deductible to approved charities. We've already had strong interest from conservation charities, and whilst our MVP is focused on the financial side of giving with plans to incorporate crypto and build a plug-in for an e-commerce store, we really also want to include Time for Change, which includes donating blocks of time or special skills that can help change the world as well. Our vision is a world where everyday people come together to create a global impact. I'll leave you with this. Australians make over 24 million cashless transactions per day. If each transaction is rounded to the nearest dollar, even just by 5 cents, as a country, we would raise over $1 million per day. Are you up for change? Scan and stay connected with us. And my ask, I'd just love to be hooked up with some fintech professionals or anyone that might be able to help me on my journey. Thank you very much.
Awesome, thanks Michelle. Lucky last, we have Darcy and Sanchi, founders of Vettree, automating the consultation process for vets.
Thank you, Sian. There are 29 million pets in Australia, and with vets leaving the industry at an alarming rate, we're fast approaching a point where we don't have enough vets to treat the growing number of animals. Hi, my name is Sanchi and this is Darcy, and we are the co-founders of Vettree. Being vets ourselves, we know the problem is multifactorial, with elements to do with growing incidents of mental ill health, remuneration, and simply that it's a difficult job day in and day out. We spoke to over 100 vets to identify what causes them stress every day. And one of the more common problems that came up again and again was to do with appointment scheduling. When appointments for complex issues are booked as short visits, vets are either forced to rush or they run over time. Either way, vets are stressed and ultimately the animal doesn't get the care it deserves. As of now, the majority of appointments are booked by phoning a clinic directly. Receptionists are often inundated with phone calls, and what results is appointments booked with inadequate time, leading to a stressed vet. So here is where we are starting. By changing the way appointments are booked, we can make a vet's day better. And we've seen in the human healthcare industry, people prefer to book appointments online. Vet-tree.com is a smart booking platform where pet owners can find their local clinic and book an appointment. The smart booking process will allocate enough time to the appointment based on a few simple questions. By booking appointments with Vettree, we will make the veterinary care experience better for everyone. And if you would like to follow our journey, please go to vet-tree.com. Thank you.
Awesome, thanks so much. Judges.
Can I jump in and ask one for Vettree, seeing as you've just you've got your microphones on? So vets are leaving at a rapid rate. I heard, and I'm not in this field. This is me just being like, I heard something once. I heard that from friends of mine who are in this profession, actually, that vet nurses are leaving at an even more rapid rate, and also that they're not even going into the field to begin with now. Do you have an answer for that piece as well, for the vet nurse issue?
Look, in terms of vet nurses, just I guess from our personal experience, the problem really is with vets at the moment in terms of what's making up the staff in a clinic. So there'd be, a number of vets and a number of support staff as the nurses. And we're finding that the bottleneck there is really about the vets leaving more than nurses. And it may be that nurses are leaving as well, but we're not finding at this point that there's as big a problem there. I think the biggest problem right now is really finding vets.
Okay, great. Thanks for clarifying that.
I might jump in then. I've got a question for Michelle at Up for Change. Love the branding, love where you're going to go with Time for Change as well. Really fits in nicely.
Thank you.
I've got a question about competition. So there's the roundup, challenges to the charity for the charity dollar at the POS, like at the point of sale. So where can you sort of explain where you fit in? Is it sort of complementary, or is it a competitor?
It's going to be way better. So it actually will give you the choice to pick the charity that you would like to direct your roundups to, as opposed to, say, at Woolies, or if you check out at some stores, they ask you if you'd like to donate, but it's to the cause that their store is passionate or interested about. Whereas I always feel bad saying no, because I'm, I love giving to charity. It's what I'm passionate about, but I want to give on my terms. So I want people to have the ability to say, I will donate my change to who I want to donate it to. So yeah, way better, different, better.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, great answer. Thank you.
Can I just ask a follow-up question to that, Michelle? I know that a lot of giving in Australia is like event-based. So we tend to sponsor a friend when they're doing a 5K because we're looking out for them, or a charity might reach out around, a Christmas giving. Do you expect the experience to have these event-based giving prompts to us as well? Or do you think or is this more about proactive, not reactive, proactive giving on the giver's behalf?
Yeah, absolutely have the events tied into it. So there will be functionality to do group events or create roundup groups. So whether it be in a workplace or just an individual that would like to assist a charity to raise funds, they can actually then set up a sub landing page from the main charity page and have their own, page with all their details, what they're aiming for, and yeah, be able to invite people to that group, and there'll be functionality to track the leaderboard and all that type of thing as well. So we will be including that.
Great. I'm going to just jump in a second question if no one else is. My next question is going to be for Stacked. I think, you've identified a really large untapped market, and absolutely, I, as someone who's like consistently at all times in some sort of home improvement or renovation project, I can tell you there's just such a range of professionalism that tradies have around both their branding and their billing and their invoicing system. And so help me to understand, it sounds like initially you are going to be, almost as an agency and guide them through the initial professionalization, but do you have visions for having almost like a platform that will provide these ongoing services? Or is it really a setup kind of, let's get started here and off you go as a professional tradie?
Yeah, so the idea is to hopefully keep them a little bit sticky. So yeah, to set them up and then have that monthly fee where I can just continue to maintain their business. And that's through a network of suppliers. So for example, I have, well, it's actually my mum, but she runs her bookkeeping business. So that's been really helpful in just setting them up on, we're just using Xero at the moment. But just really helping to teach them how to be professional and keep all their accounts and everything really clean. And then just, continuing to work with them on improvements throughout their business. Did that answer your question?
It did, but I think that teaching them, there might be a bigger business opportunity, which is to have that recurring revenue and actually just be the platform that is their one-stop shop, even if behind it is sitting Xero, even if behind it is sitting, Canva or other things. But, I think about Thumbtack here in the US, which is a large marketplace for local professionals to get jobs done. On the consumer side, it's like I find a plumber to come fix my toilet. But what Thumbtack is doing is building out a whole platform on which the plumber can sit. And the reason why they keep coming, to Thumbtack to get their customers is actually they can just have all of their sales in one place, all of their tax information, all of their billing and invoicing. So I would think about, if you are inclined in building out tooling is, and creating SaaS, software as a service, is a very powerful opportunity for this space that is under digitized and is a huge opportunity to create sticky recurring revenue. So maybe you try this out, you see if you like it, you'll start to identify what are those customer needs that you think need to be productized first. But I think there's a huge opportunity to create the platform on which tradies sit, and it's their one-stop shop to run their business.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. I did think of becoming Stacked certified, where they get like a score for their branding or their operation side of things. But yeah, I really like that idea. I think that's the bigger future step. Yeah.
I'm glad Rachel said those things, because you saved me from talking about productizing your services. Great business idea. Nina, I wanted to come back to you. Love a really clear niche. I'm wondering where your target consumers hang out. Like, where will you go marketing to find those people?
Well, sorry for my voice. Definitely when I think of my consumers, it's people within my age group. When addressing, I guess, women of color in Australia, there actually hasn't been much done, really. So I feel like when I think of someone around my age, be it within like the 20s to 30 market as well, and thinking, a lot of the time spending time on social media, that would definitely be where we start. Initially with like the trial products that I had users for, it was through a Facebook group that was kind of more so for women of color in Australia. That's actually how I got my initial users, just to test out the products. I hope that answers your question, but definitely starting with social, like with, the general social media channels, and just educating a lot of women of color, because, people don't walk around thinking, oh, products aren't working for me because they're not tested on my skin. That's something that you would only know if you went out of your way to figure out why this issue was occurring. So definitely educating women that fit within or identify as women of color, definitely.
Cool. Yeah. I think there's a lot of opportunity to take advantage of those Facebook groups, and giving your loyal fans an opportunity to share the product with their friends.
Just like creating a community initially, just building a strong community first and foremost, and then from there starting to introduce our products from then.
Oh, exciting. Congratulations.
Cool. I might jump in and ask a question for STEAM troopers. So there's a number of competitors in kids learning apps. You know, there's tons of them out there. Love to learn more about how this is going to keep up with the fast moving world of STEM. You know, we know that the education system doesn't, but will it tie into the curriculum at all?
Yes, and I should have mentioned that it will be tied into the curriculum, and yeah, it will be tied into the curriculum. There are a number of competitors, but there are some games, but no competitor, especially in the Southeast Asian marketplace, offers like an end-to-end solution that's tied into the curriculum that's also fun and immersive.
Okay, and so you'll keep it aligned to the curriculum. You're not going to because I mean, I think some of the things that we face sometimes tying it into the curriculum is obviously very important for that mass, you know, bringing the masses in. Are you going to be doing anything different to, you know, keep up with the latest technologies and things like that sometimes it's just slow moving in school environments, university environments? I mean, I know this is for kids, but you know, those environments, sometimes they just haven't caught up.
Yes, absolutely. And that was one of the reasons I wanted to actually explore the family environment as well, Emily. The idea of like using immersive technology, so AR and VR, to create those immersive play-based fun learning experiences for children. And that's something I'm working right now with an AR developer to actually work out if we can take the existing prototype and actually bring in some of those experiences and then test that on children and see how the market responds to it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
How are we going for time?
Got a few more minutes.
Okay, I might come back to Vetri, Sanchi and Darcy. How have you found the relationship side of you know, having, you know, the pet owner and the relationship with their vet? So I mean, I use Health Engine for the humans of the household, and but I'm still going back to the same surgery. So do you see the same thing happening with Vetri, or are people sort of just shopping around for where the closest appointment is?
Definitely see the same thing happening with Vetri. That's sort of our bigger picture, is that we want to develop the relationship directly between the pet owner and their vet. We have a number of ideas of how we can make that happen. I guess with our MVP, which is this booking platform, it's sort of the first part to that relationship is actually booking the appointment. So yeah, there's a lot of work to be done in the industry and a lot of innovation to be done around communication, you know, and building that relationship ongoing. So yeah, absolutely, that's the goal.
Cool. And so does that mean there's an opportunity to partner with those programs like Best for Pet that some of the vets have to as a subscription sort of service for animals?
I'm not sure about the answer to that question.
I mean, I think in terms of our business model, we'd be asking clinics to pay us to be listed as part of our program, probably as like pay per booking type of business model. So of course they're going to see the benefit of extra marketing, etc., by being on our platform, and we really envision that will be the place to go to book your vet appointment. So I mean, I guess indirectly they'll get benefit from that.
Yeah. Great.
Awesome. Thanks so much. So that is a wrap for all of our pitches. Amazing job to all the founders that pitched today. Judges, thanks always for your thoughtful suggestions, feedback, questions. We find it really valuable, and I'm sure if we've given you enough time, you'll have pretty detailed notes too, which we can pass on to all the founders as well. And now, I guess, to our audience, you're still with us. If you had a favorite company today, please pop it in the name in the chat box, or if you had a favorite few companies, pop those in now. And if you'd like to connect with any of the teams, please ping us at hello@atto.vc, and we'll connect you with them straight away. And then I'll hand it over to Kate so she can finish us off.
I just want to give one quick shout out to Lana. She's like the link queen. I've seen her in action in others. Like I've never seen anyone just get those links into the chat forum faster than Lana. So hats off, Lana. You're awesome. All right. And thank you everyone who pitched today. It's always such a privilege that we get to hear from so many people doing what they're so passionate about. And we can't wait to see how your companies grow. And, you know, of course, it goes without saying, when you're ready to raise some money, you have 3 women whose names should be on speed dial. So make sure that we hear from you first.
And thanks, Rachel, because I know what time is it there now, about 8 o'clock later.
7. It's good. It's just about dinner time. Yeah.
I love your bookshelf, by the way. But yes, thank you. And thanks to April for joining in from her vacation as well. And Emily, it was lovely to see your dog get a cameo.
Yeah,
so we really, we're at the end, please get him or her back for a little wave. So we really appreciate it. So we know that you're very busy. So to give 2.5, 3 hours of time is really, we're super grateful. Well done to all the teams. Echo what Rachel's saying about Lana. Lana often is recording on 2 computers, doing all this kind of stuff behind the scenes for us. So we really appreciate her. And thanks, Sean, for doing another year of seamless hosting as well. And congrats again to all the teams. So I won't keep you too much longer. I'm just going to give a couple of little shout outs and also talk about what we'll be doing next year. So many of you here might know someone who is brand new to the tech startup world. They might not even know what a startup is. They might not have an idea. And so in Q1, Q2 next year, we're going to run a program called Atto Aspire, which is for people brand new to startup world that want to go through an 8-week pre-accelerator program to explore that. So we'll be launching that. So please send through referrals if you know anyone. We'll also be launching a funding program. So this is one of the 2 new brand programs that we're doing. And this is for female founders looking to raise their first round of capital, be it traditional angel funding or explore what we call alt funding options like Tractor Ventures and what we saw with Atto alumna Bubble Tea Club when they raised 1.6 million on virtual. And we'll be hearing from female founders who have raised and also directly from investors. So hopefully we'll be hearing from the 3 judges here again today next year. Then we'll be also running Atto Accelerator this time again next year. And we have our ongoing female founder community membership with Atto Academy, which includes a ton of coaching as well from our team. We also want to say a big thank you again to Microsoft for Startups. They're providing a range of benefits for our founders, including Azure credits, Office 365, and then GitHub subscriptions and more. And like Atto, they're really committed to making entrepreneurship accessible to all founders, no matter what their background or where they are in the globe. So it's awesome. Thank you again to Emily and Justin. And then also thanks to LaunchFic. So they are launching a new sidecar angel fund, which you might have heard about, which is a $10 million fund with Alice Anderson. So if you'd like to hear more about that, contact us at hello@atto.vc and we can explore that. And we're also still in discussion about creating a micro fund for any peeps who want to chat about that. So super early stage. Atto is actually, as you know, a metric prefix that's like micro nano. So we're thinking about tiny amounts of capital that can help female founders really get started. So always hello@atto.vc if you've got anything else. And then I'm just going to quickly hand back to Lana to do the final close. And thank you everyone so much again for your time today.
Thanks heaps, Kate. I'm just going to launch a poll if anybody does want to share any specific feedback with any of our founders. We will be collating that and sharing that with them. So there's your opportunity if you'd like to do that in that poll there, or feel free to get in touch with them directly. As you've heard, the links are everywhere. They're definitely on Twitter and definitely on our website. So please check out the founders and support them. And just thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate all your support for these female founders who have been working really hard over the past 12 weeks to build their ideas. Some of them just started with an idea, and it's really amazing to see what they've been able to do in this short time as well. And if you do like any of the founders, we highly recommend that you reach out to them, support their journey. Even if you're not going to be a customer, if you have any piece of advice or anything that you like from their pitches, I'm sure they would really love to hear it because they've been preparing for a while now as well. So thank you for joining us for celebrating their progress. If you have any questions about Atto, feel free to get in touch via the website or via social media. You can find everything everything about Atto at atto.vc. And then if you are interested in joining some of our programs, you can fill out an expression of interest form via the website as well. So thank you so much again for joining us. We really appreciate it. And we hope you reach out and support the community more in future as well. Thanks again.